And we are live coming at you. This is Shadows of Dawn. I am DM Riot, and this adventure is Troubles of Future Past. We have returning some first stage characters. So most of the Saren defenders are with us, which include Treant Trimblewind, the Marquis from Glissondale. Tella Trimblewind, the world and valley-wide famous performer. Brand Silverhill, the doctor, who is the head of the Church of Selune. We also have Eldor Nightglow, adventurer at large. And the renowned investigator, Bevier Argonis, who is from the Fellhammer 5, actually. So, welcome everybody. Welcome anybody who is watching. You're a little late on the stream, but that's okay. Just got to get everything settled in here. We are using Talespire D&D Beyond. This is a continuation of the First Age campaign, which ended, how long has it been? 6 months? 7 months? A little longer.
Oh, it's been longer than that. It's been a good year almost. I think.
Almost. Wow.
84 years.
At least that should have been more than a year, I think.
Wow. So, returning to some of the characters, they have been called back into action. In order to get this started, we're going to go ahead and do some little character recaps. We'll go one by one and give you guys a chance to kind of ask some questions along the way. We're going to start with Bevier Argonis. Work. It's not all bad. It's been paying the bills, and it's kept you moving. The foray into the giant steeding was an interesting break and profitable. Returning to Glissondale was nice, but you were soon tapped to help the Glissondale sheriff investigate several cases, all of which were solvable, except one. Someone simply seemed to disappear from Candlelight Library. You learned this wasn't the first time this had happened, and it still remains unsolved. Before digging further, however, the Yellow Death, which has broken out across the valley, basically made everything go to shit. Churches are totally taxed. Healers are taxed. Even Durnavir, your compatriot in the Fellhammer 5, who took the opportunity to open a clinic, was taxed as well. The copper mine investment has been short the last 2 months, with the sick not being able to work. And things got real bad when 2 nobles died of the sickness. You've helped where you can, but the ask for working cases has stopped, and all efforts are basically on crowd control within Glissondale. The city nearly floated the idea of a quarantine, much like Frostdale did, but it was narrowly voted down. You spent some time at the library looking into the Merkmeyer stone from a heist that you were involved in solving a while back, actually a couple years ago, to see what Dr. Donnell was so concerned about. Your request to investigate what was found has basically been denied, as have your attempts to locate what has become of the stone or the scroll itself. Hey, thank you for liking and following. So you spent, let's see. So far, your investigation hasn't turned up anything other than proof that someone has been covering tracks. Books that Dr. Donnell checked out are now missing. You even managed to slip into her old home, which was accidentally burned, so they say. But also, it was ransacked prior, which revealed several secret cubbies which obviously held something of importance. That mystery has lingered on your mind, but at the present time, it's not something you can take on while the Yellow Death is being used to cover a few murders here and there. Freelance investigations are paying well. The paranoid usually do, so you've learned. One day, however, you were approached in Glissondale by Caroline Azurlake, also known as the Blue Dragon. She has a young sorcerer friend named Dusk, who needs more experienced hands and it involves some possible intrigue in Glissondale. It didn't sound like much off the tip of the tongue, but you've known Caroline for a while. She doesn't seem to ask for anything, and particularly if it's small. She indicates to you in private that she fears the young sorcerer has stumbled upon something that looks like it falls into your area of expertise. She says so referring to the apparatus of Qualesh. You decide to go ahead and she also requests that you may need some help on this because she has a feeling that this is going to blow up as far as it's bigger than it seems. You decide to go ahead and let Tella know, who's been in town for a while. Cover that in a minute. And to see if any of his old party might be available. Bernavir is currently away visiting Felspar. You are to meet her at the Wooden Tankard in Glissondale in just a few days. Alrighty, Bevier, any questions?
Was any evidence recovered from Dr. Dr. Daniels' house?
Nothing that you determined was more than what you know. You did turn up a few little, obviously she was doing research on the Murkmire Stone. Obviously it was fascination, but things were so messed up that it was more, your conclusion is that it was more than just an accident. Although you don't have any solid leads on who may be responsible.
Disappearances from the Candlelight Library have become an issue. This is just the latest one. Obviously, there's an external group or person who's trying to cover things up. But in the meantime, I'm more concerned with meeting with this gentleman Dusk. Did the Blue Dragon give any extra details on what his problem was, especially if it's in reference to the apparatus?
No. She's actually wants to keep it very hush-hush. And you're not sure why, but as an adventurer of her level, it's like there's probably a good reason, and she wouldn't ask for your help if it wasn't going to be a good reason. It's almost to the point of alarming that she came asking for help. Because the sorcerer of her level, it's like there's not many things she probably couldn't handle, but something's up.
I'm having flashbacks to the journey to Qualesh's laboratory.
Alrighty.
That'll end. In Beggars' turn.
Alrighty. Moving to Tella. Tella, life has been a blur. Town to town, travel and performance, with only a few breaks in between. You went hard for the first year and a half after semi-retiring the adventuring life, and all things were good. But you finally needed a long break. And that's when it happened. You stumbled upon something extraordinary. By happenstance. A complete accident. And it led to a potential valley-shaking revelation. But you had to swear to secrecy on your own terms. Being a cunning linguist that you were, you did manage to work in a small way for you to tell about what you have discovered. But it was going to have to be sowed in rumors, which you promptly set about doing. This, of course, gave you new encouragement to travel again, and your second show, which kind of took on the title Westbound and Down, was born. And songs like This Is the Fey Life and Blue Dragons Talking. You have worked in your clues. You are sworn not to reveal what you found, but you understand the game of the ones who made the promise. And you will keep that promise. As of late, however, all shows have been canceled. When the Yellow Death showed up, the people were not congregating, and the theaters were basically empty. The tragedy hit close to home as many of your family in Glissondale were also struck. Fortunately, a new clinic opened up from one of the Fellhammer 5 members, Durnavir, and Treant returned from his travels to help as well. But even with 3-4 powerful healers in Glissondale, it's barely enough on a daily basis to help. The long caravans have recently stopped running, and people are getting desperate. This, of course, gave you time to finish your third work, which you did manage, and you managed to get it plugged in through the Merchants Guild via your previous contacts. But at the moment, sales have been slow, due to Yellow Death effects. You did manage to catch up with Bevier, and he has regaled you with an interesting update on the exploding head that you were also witness to years ago at the heist of the Glissondale Museum of Natural History. The incident has been repeated, it seems, at the Eye of Sorrow Festival, and it seems that there is some sort of tie-in with the heist itself. While fascinating, it hasn't given you anything solid. You feel like there is a secret being kept, and you can't seem to pry it loose. Ironic, considering your recent discovery. Then, out of the blue, no pun intended, Bevier contacts you regarding a possible quest Caroline Azurlake has requested on behalf of a young sorcerer. This, again, strikes you as very interesting, as she does not require assistance very often, if ever, being one of the most powerful sorceresses, if not the most powerful sorceress in the valley. Bevier asks you to make some sendings to your old friends to see who might be able to help. Tella, any questions? You might be on mute.
The one question I have is, have I seen anyone yet during that time between talking to them about Caroline, or is this going to be our first meeting altogether?
You have not seen Caroline. I will say you have seen Trent.
Okay. Sure. All right. That's something on the time.
All right. Trent, the Marquis. Travel. You've managed to spend your near retirement traveling the valley, indulging in all the cultures, and learning more than ever, not just Etch-a-Sketch and a brothel. You've made acquaintances in every town to some degree and have met most of the noble families at least once. You've taken a peek into the Eye of Sorrow, discovering it has more caves than the Caves of Chaos, but there is no discernible pathway or network between them. It's deep, it's dark, and you estimate you've seen less than half of what is detailed from just the cursory looks you've taken so far. Although the one scare you did have was fairly deep down. You felt something fly by you. It was big, whatever it was, and somehow unseen. Discretion being the better part of valor that day, you did not descend that low again. But you feel certain something is down there. The Yellow Death, however, caught up to you and everyone. You've gotten ill a few times from traveling and meeting so many people. You've decided to return to Glissondale at long last, and since then, you got buried in noble business. They caught you. It's almost traumatic in the way they keep you busy with things. The Yellow Death is spreading, and it's getting much worse. Even the Duke himself has admitted that using adventurers might be something they need to do to solve the problem, which is contrary to his position that somehow they killed his daughter. Your relationship with the Duke has never really been on good terms, since he obviously holds your career against you. It was nice to catch up with Bevier and Durnavir in Glissondale, as you learned about a past incident about the heist of a gem from the museum, and the heads exploding on both them and recently at the Eye of Sorrow Festival. Something about the story reminds you of one you've heard in Snowshore Harbor. It's apparently this head explosion is something that has happened there before, but it's kept very quiet. If it weren't for drunken tales of sailors, a secret it would have remained. You can't help but feel something is connected. Then, of course, out of the blue, no pun intended, Bevier Argonis contacts you regarding the Blue Dragon, Caroline Azurlake. You, likewise, realize that for her to contact for help is odd, and probably for a very good reason. He has asked basically that you meet him along with Tella and whoever Tella can contact via sendings at the Wooden Tank. You just have this feeling that this seems serious. The Marquis, any questions?
Have I been able to help in any way? Like,
Yes.
what have I been able to do
So,
with healing and all
After experimenting with your Heroes Feast, and I'm going to say you laid out because you said this is something you wanted to do. 2 bowls, so you'd have to mark off the funds for the bowls. It was discovered that the curing of the disease that the Heroes Feast provides, while this is one spell, and it is a high-level spell, its cost is definitely prohibitive for this purpose, because the curing of the disease did not prevent the disease from coming back. Therefore, it seems like lesser restorations are a much better way to handle. So those of you in Glissondale, which would include you, Tella, Bevier, of course, also know that the Church of Morden in the Mountain, run by Bishop Santee Iron Founderson, who was of the Fellhammer Five.
Good guy.
They constantly, as well as some of the at the Alpha Shrine, even some minor followers of Neuralis who are showing up there. There are lines like that will start in the wee hours. Some will camp out overnight just to get a lesser restoration so that they can be cured. But it's been learned at this point that lesser restoration does not give immunity, meaning the person can just catch it again. And right now, the numbers are higher than what all of the healing power in the entire city is able to keep up with. It is getting bad.
But what about my Cauldron of Plenty? You have been able to feed some people.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay. I mean, all of that is taken. You're helping out. You can even help at the clinic with Durnavir if you wish. It's not so much that food is a problem. It's really just the sickness and the death. There, being adventurers at your status, you have all come to kind of realize that there is such a thing as being too generous, which will backfire. People that offer things, and when they run out, people get angry. And then it's kind of like, well, why did you heal that person over there and not mine? Why did you heal this person and not this person? And that animosity has also started to resonate within the city. And Tella can tell you from his travels, and Trent from your travels, that you've seen this start to happen too. It's a very risky game. One of the reasons Bevier's work with crowd control in Glissondale, where they've tried to organize as best as possible how to get care to the right people, is very important. Because just going to the corner and handing out freebies could start a riot. Make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I'm an adventurer.
Yeah, I have a question. Did you say heads exploding?
I'll get to you in just a second. In fact, you're next.
All right.
Keep your helmet on.
Sure I heard you right.
The Dr. Bran Silverhill. Salune be praised. No church has prospered from adventuring like Salune. While the building of the church itself is small, the congregation has grown mighty. You've recently had several Salunites follow in the adventuring footsteps. One cleric showed his prowess at the Eye of Sorrow Festival and was recruited into an adventuring group called the Vanguard. Another cleric, just prior to that, joined a group to search through the remains of an accident in Frostdale. It was an accident where if you remember, Frostdale has an above ground and an underground. In the underground, a section of the cave had fallen through the Bullet Hole Tavern and exposed a deep shaft below the bullet hole. This turned into a huge discovery of an underground network, and the group, which is now going through there, is dubbed the Deep Six. Information of both have flowed in ever since. And several months ago, you sent a young paladin to join the Deep Six in their foray. That gives the church 3 active adventurers in this age. As such, your knowledge of the Yellow Death and its effects are not just from your frontline perspective from healing, which basically keeps you busy through the entire morning hours and your spells tapped thereafter. You've heard through your adventurers how it's affecting the valley as a whole and getting worse. You have heard of the goblin's head who exploded at the Eye of Sorrow Festival. You did hear about that from one of your clerics who was there. You've also heard things that this foray into this Undermountain area in Frostdale is getting more mysterious by the report. A goblin market exists down there, one that your adventurers have traded with. And there's even rumor of a town, cut off from the surface for centuries apparently. Some reports that you're getting tie into the story of the Circle of One, Shard Avantgarde's former adventuring group. There was a dwarf by the name of Zork who was apparently down there, and you kind of wonder, is he still down there? I mean, that would be near impossible, wouldn't it? Anyway, the day after day of healing the sick has taken its toll on you. I mean, there really is no rest for the weary. Your lower level acolytes can likewise only handle so much. Sometimes you think it would be nice to go on another adventure. Then, out of the blue, you get a sending from Tella. As the Blue Dragon, Caroline Azurlake is in need of experienced adventurers. You kind of weigh the options. You're like, well, crap. It's like, I don't want to go away from the people, but they're being called. You kind of come to realize that both the adventuring groups, which you are in contact with, are both currently occupied. And if somebody as important as Caroline Azurlake is asking for help, this is probably important. It wouldn't, and especially if Tella's calling too, this would probably be very important. And so they're just going to have to do without you for a couple of days. And while that could be a problem in Fellhammer, it's not like the lines weren't a problem already. I mean, the entire city can't rely on just you. I mean, there's other people that have to pull their weight. But something has to be done. It's like you're being pulled on both ends here. But I am guessing you go ahead and decide to go at least to Glissondale to learn and find out what is going on and see what the Blue Dragon may think is more important. Any questions, Bran?
Yeah, did you say heads exploding?
Yes. So I will let Bevier, if Bevier wants to give you an explanation of the heist, he can give you a little information about it.
Bevier's just trying to remember the heist. It's been a while.
Does anyone here remember the heist? If not, you can always go back and watch it on YouTube. It's there. The heist. Bevier was clued in about a possible robbery at the Glissondale Museum of Natural Science. In such, they sort of set a trap to catch these robbers. They weren't exactly sure what they were after, but it turned out they were after a stone known as the Merkmeyer Stone. And when apparently inside this stone there was some paper or something, they're not really sure, because when the guard tried to explain to Tella and Bevier what was on the paper, his head literally exploded on the street in front of all.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. And then something very similar happened at the Eye of Sorrow Festival when they found this goblin who had apparently come through a portal from who knows where. When the goblin began to tell the people at the surface where he was from, his head exploded.
So don't read the world's funniest joke.
Apparently.
It doesn't come out well, let me tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Or?
I don't really have any questions there. Sorry, I did have one. Do I know the name of the young paladin? I should know the name of the young paladin I sent to join the Deep Six.
Yes, absolutely. And the name of the young paladin.
I assume he's not in this group because I don't.
No.
Bevier is Bevier new to the campaign, or was he in the?
Bevier was from. He was from the Fellhammer 5. Bevier was from the Fellhammer 5.
Okay. Got it.
So much for my reputation proceeding.
He's like, I'm sorry, who's this new guy? No, so the paladin is a 5th level paladin named Eric Evenfall.
Eric?
Eric, spelled AIREC, Evenfall. There's a long joke there. I'm not going to explain it right now. The cleric in the Deep Six is Marilil Yinmoria. She is a half-elven cleric, like the main cleric. And, of course, you have the other cleric in the Vanguard that is Stygian Tenebrous. So yeah, actually Selûne has 3 current adventurers in the second age.
I'm gonna have to get those names again, I think.
Not a problem. I'm gonna remind you.
Or if you have them, copy paste them in the chat, I can just we can move on. Either way.
Yeah. Let me touch on Eldor. Time to test the microphone thing. All right, Eldor Nightglow. Time has
dropped off.
His computer went boom, apparently.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let's just the picture.
Yeah, like smoking.
Oh. Goodness. All right. Well, we'll have to just skip Eldor for the moment. And alrighty.
I just have a quick Discord question. Isn't there a way to make it highlight the person who's talking?
There's a little green ring that pops up around them when they're talking, around the border.
Okay. I thought there was a way to highlight, like make them big, so I would be able to see who's talking.
In the cut screen window there is, but I don't know off the top of my head what the control is.
Yeah. I thought I knew where it was, and I didn't look at it.
Alrighty. So, we are going to go ahead. It is June, in the year 1029 KVY. And I'm pulling you to Glissendale. City. Make sure I have the right hawker.
So tired of hearing the guy scream on the corner.
Actually, I did make one city no hawker.
And also, my tab thing is not working. So, it works now, but when I hit tab, it only flashes the GM overview for like half a second. So I may need some help targeting.
Okay.
Unless I can figure this out.
Got it.
Glissendale.
Yep. This is all of you in Glissendale. You should be able to find your menu by left-clicking on it. And your first objective is to make your way to the wooden tank, which...
I apologize. My Discord freaked out for a second. Which day in June are we?
We're just going to call it the middle of June. So about June... let me see. I can line you right up with June 11th. How about June 11th?
Okay. No, because there's holidays.
Yeah. June 11th. So you do know that the wooden tankard is somewhere in the northeastern section of Glissendale.
I've lived here long enough. You think I remember?
Yeah, well, Glissendale is a big city.
Are we all
as much as you drink?
This is true. I've been a little tossed every time I've left there.
The other thing for the new players, if you wish to open a door, you right-click on it. That is one of the things I probably forgot to tell the new players. If you right-click on a door, it should prompt me to open the door.
Ladies and gentlemen watching at home, I'll try to give anyone a dizzy fit. All right, lads, you coming?
Yeah, anybody know where this tavern is?
Northeast. This way.
History check or waiting for an answer today?
Waiting for adventure to begin. I am summoning you to the board. This might be one of those where you guys are using the same account, where I don't know if that's going to work. I would try to log out and log back in because I'm seeing the first tree at Trimble
That has worked before.
Mhm.
We'll wait at the edge of this dark alley just until he shows up.
And I'm having trouble too moving the camera. There it is. Middle click to move the camera. All right.
Yeah. Camera, yes. Middle click.
Technology is amazing.
Middle click to spin. Mouse wheel in and out.
You can also do Q and E to rotate hands.
Right
Well,
click.
sock keys to up and down.
Right click is slide. Left click is
So there might be a problem with my keyboard because the Q and E doesn't do anything either. I have to keep tapping it.
You've been eating over that keyboard too much. Got all the crumbs in it.
It's a custom keyboard, so I've never had any issues with any other programs, but it may be an issue with the way this thing does keep mine. So I may have to go get a regular keyboard.
I'm waiting for the adventure to begin.
All right. Summon you.
Yeah. Okay.
Silver Lily.
Yep.
Some good times here.
I would recommend
Are we
emergency downloading the guest copy because it doesn't look like it's going to allow two on the same account.
Okay, I'm going to log out because my computer's slightly better, so I can download faster.
are we supposed to go mouse over buildings to see what they're called, or do we just gotta know where it is?
Hold down,
Tab.
hold down tab, and you get signs in front of the buildings.
Yeah, see that? Okay, I'm just gonna have to go find a keyboard that works. Because wait, I've got a wireless one right here. Let's try this.
And this is why.
It's amazing.
And this is why, for the last 2 weeks, I kept hounding them to log in and get connected.
I tried. I couldn't see all this stuff. I remember I had problems with the menus.
Poor Eldor's machine blew up. Whatever he did.
I believe what the DM told me was I don't know. So I didn't mean to say it.
He said he posted a picture that it blew up or something. Where did he post it?
I said it on Facebook.
Oh, I see. Oh shit.
Bugs Bunny's house.
There we go.
The silver. So where are we going again? Now that I can see the names.
The wooden tanker.
Come on down the street. You don't want to go to Silver Lily right now. If you drink some, then you go to Silver Lily. Ask for Ethel.
Ask for Ethel. I'm having trouble finding it. Am I standing right in front of it and I just can't see it? I'm going to stand over here next to that here.
Come on around the corner. That veer's just kind of dead reckoning, too, because we're going northeasterly-ish.
Yeah, I can see all of the building names, but I don't see one called the Wooden Tanker.
Me either.
Okay.
But he said northeast, so I will go east and I'll go north as soon as I can.
So Tailspire adds like a whole other element to D&D that is Find Waldo.
Exploration. Which
Right.
Exploration is definitely one of the principles of D&D.
Yeah, if this was easy, it'd be called There's Waldo.
Come on, lad. Let me show you about town that I've never been in town before.
Here's the Drunken Dragon.
Have we ever been to the Wooden Tavern, any of us?
So one of the wooden tankard. Actually, you guys didn't actually frequent the wooden tankard very often. So here's a hint. Use your cut line to drop down to about, let's see what my cut line said, about 21 feet, and that will also kind of help you find paths, because then you're kind of cutting down to the first level.
Say, unless I cut through the market here. Hey, look, we'll walk through this foundation area. It's not a place you get mugged at all.
For some reason, my cut line is not
It is
taking anything away.
Zoom your mouse in, and it will do it then.
There we go. You get to be zoomed.
Part of this is to give you guys, some of you new guys, experience with that, moving around, finding all carefully.
And here's the wooden tankard. If you want to lock in on Bevier Argonis.
Where are you? Where did you go?
See that gray foundation?
I see player, game master, and Tella. Are you player?
No, I'm Bevier.
I don't see you. Did you disappear because you're inside of the building?
No, I'm still in the street, actually.
You should be able to click on his picture, and it would take your...
Yes.
Keep on going straight down the street. Here, GPS will guide you.
Yeah,
You're on the other street.
Your picture is not showing up for me.
All right, turn left.
Really?
Turn left at this intersection.
All right. I have a Tella Trimblewind. I'm just wondering which Tella that one is. That
there you go.
Look,
Back in, downloading it now. Or just...
Yeah, for some reason I don't see Bevier's name. I see player, game master, and Tella, and me.
Well, my stealth's pretty high, so.
Well, I was going to say, maybe it's because I was far enough away from you, but I'm standing right next to you. And it's
For the game, we ought to be able to see everybody. That's odd.
Well, maybe it'll fix itself in time.
well, it does
Probably
use a
might.
lot of line of sight rules and things like that. So you may have a.
That's what I was wondering.
It does use
Yeah.
it does use a lot of line of sight rules.
The way mine is set up is almost default, and I can always go to you guys. Even in the last adventure, we had parties on opposite ends of the map, and you knew where everybody was.
Oh, this thing.
So Tran, are you able to move? Or Tella, are you able to move?
Shit, he was just there behind me.
Mine is still loading everything, so
Got it.
because I had to sign up and sign back in.
We're going to be good drop by the time you guys get here.
I know, right?
Right? I'm already
Just
one down.
get the tankard. Meet us at the Silver Lily.
While we're waiting on them, DM, could I get the names of those paladins again?
Yes. Eric A. Oh my god, I hate this guy. 1 second. I think it's AIREC. Even
AIREC.
Echo
EC.
Charlie. Even Fall.
Evenfall.
He is a human
Okay.
paladin. Human paladin, Oath of the Ancients. And Merilil is the half-elf cleric. Merillyl. Merilil.
Merilil. MERI.
LYL.
And her last name?
Yin Moria. Yin Moria. YIN. Yin. MOIRA.
MORIA. And then it's an Elven.
Yeah.
Elven?
Half elven.
Half Elven.
Half elven cleric. Like the name.
Oh, cleric. Okay. There was a third one?
Stygian. STYGIAN. Tenebrous. TENEBROUS.
He was a what?
He is a Twilight cleric. Human.
Yeah. Get it. Twilight clerics rule. Okay, thank you for that.
Not a problem. And Bevier, if you want to tell him anything else you may remember from the heist.
I'm digging around our old, I was already digging around our old storage so far, and I can't find anything on heist.
Well, Bevier wasn't a PC in the heist. He was an NPC. The heist was the robbers that were going through it. And Bevier was actually an NPC, as was Tella, who were working with the sheriff to kind of lay the trap once they figured out what they were going for.
I definitely don't remember any of that.
You probably would have had to watch the stream.
Yeah, because I'm looking around for the stone. I remember the generalities of the stone. I have some vague memory of the heist, and obviously I was not there. The mind behind Bevier was not there.
I gotta see this picture Ryan posted.
Yeah, it's in Facebook. All right, we're 3 drinks deep. This is going to be a short adventure.
Oh my god. That thing break and crack?
Yeah, it wasn't any crack.
Man, crazy.
Folks at home, our players will be down due to a literally blowing up computer.
Is it something you can share on Discord? I'm not on Facebook.
No, I can't because I'm currently.
I got it
on my phone. It's a 2-second video. It looks like literally like his battery expanded or something and smoked and cracked the case on the laptop.
Trent.
Oh man.
There we go. Okay, yeah, you do. GM Tools. Trent has a new login. Trent. There you go. Perfect. Now I got them both.
Dun, 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 dun.
So I see Tella moving, and Trent should be up. Oh, that was Trent moving. Is Tella still downloading?
Yeah, let's look at that. Look, I can finally see the video, but it was already.
While they're doing it, let's explore, ladies and gentlemen, around Listendale.
Look at the detail. Look at the map.
This is pretty impressive. I remember stabbing somebody in that alley. I remember getting stabbed in that alley.
To move a little faster, you can hold shift and click your mini, and it'll be a ghost. And wherever you put your mini, it will just zoom immediately.
So the Candlelight Library is going to need a little bit of extra work done. Plenty of stone makes some rework available. And things aren't so bad that we can't burn torches in daylight. That's an ostentatious display of wealth. And although the Yellow Death may ravage, we pay our street cleaners extremely well. No horse poop here, ladies and gentlemen.
And I figured your camera was just not high enough up to see it.
Alrighty. It looks like Trent has made it. Fran has made it.
Yeah, not to the tank, eh?
Tella must be close. Is he still working his way? Maybe he would like to open a door.
Open the bloody door, I want a drink.
All right, I'm going to help Tella. He's going to teleport.
Straight to the bullet hole with you.
There you go, Tella.
Yeah, is that the kind of jokes we're going to have? Because I'm going to need to
Yes.
rethink my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
Just get a drink.
I'm away, idiot.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. I didn't realize my video cut out. Oh, I know why it did. Because I accidentally killed it.
Dusk. I remember this guy.
Alrighty. For posterity. Oops. I don't want to turn it on until I'm the full screen. That needs to be full screen. There we go. Perfect. Alrighty. So, yes, as you come into the tavern.
Party.
You guys
Party.
can make your way inside, where you see Caroline and
Sorry. I'm on my way. Oh, I gotta get through the door.
Don't dance on the table. It's too early in the evening.
There we go. Wait, where am I?
I don't know.
Oh, apparently I'm still stuck on the door. Come on.
Use the arrow keys. Probably help.
Yeah.
No, you stood on the.
You did.
You stood
To
on the
be fair,
stage.
you did tell us that. Oh, there I am. Discovered it by hard experience. I was actually in, but somehow I was hidden behind this little wall. Whatever this thing is in the bottom corner.
That was a dramatic run-up.
You stepped on the stage. All right, and Tell is in there. Okay. As you come in, you recognize Caroline Ashley sitting inside. The Wooden Tankard is a fairly low-key tavern. It's one of the more laid-back taverns in Glissondale, run by Doodle Winklefin. Caroline has ordered a couple of drinks. She says, I'm so glad you guys could meet me. This is Dusk, Halloran Dusk, if you wish his long name. He is a friend of mine, a young adventurer who is much like me, draconic bloodline sorcerer. We've become friends. He has been adventuring here recently, and, well, he has a rather perplexing tale that I believe you should hear. Dusk's like, it's a pleasure to meet you guys. I've heard a lot about you. Caroline is tutored me quite well as I've been growing up, and one day it's like I will be I hope to be as good adventurer as some of you guys. But currently, I seem to have a conundrum. Where to start? Well,
The beginning.
Well, I joined a group. There was 5 of us. There's only 2 of us left. A young halfling paladin named Hup from Solomir. He's the only remaining person of the group, and he's journeyed back to Solomir with the Yellow Death going on and some of the strife they've had back there. One of our member, a guy named Harive, he decided to quit. Adventuring, I know, isn't for everybody, and after what we had encountered, I think he had his fill, and in a way, it's kind of hard to blame him. Our other 2 friends were not as fortunate. You see, we were journeying through some of the woods, just to the east here, in some of the light woods around the Glissondale Mountains. We stumbled upon a trio of dryads and a unicorn. The factions, each side was blaming the other for a certain corruption that was going on in the woods. Our group set about to investigate, what was going on, and we came across what for the life of us looked to be some sort of tower. But it's not like the tower fell. It's more like it crashed into the ground. Caroline says that could have been quite possible if it was the tower that launched out of the Candlelight Library. This was back in 1025 with the Dragon Slayers of Belspar. Dusk says, I have some drawings I made here. And he pulls out some sketches and lays them on the ground. As he looks, you see certain pieces and components from this tower area that he's talking about. And there seems to be some sort of console-like mechanism. He says, we found these gemstones, and he points to 2 of them, lying on the ground nearby. One is deep red, the other is light blue. Both are made of some unknown material. we discovered that these odd components seem to manipulate time in a localized area. This was 2 weeks ago. I haven't told many about this discovery, yet I've now been contacted by not one, but 2 solicitors who claim to know what I found. I mean, they've given me invitations to meet. I delayed the response thus far. Caroline suggested that we contact you to get your thoughts. Caroline turns the paper around and pushes it towards you. Says, "Does this look familiar to you, Bevier?" As you look at it, Bevier, you recognize a lot of the similarities that you saw in the Lost Laboratory of Qualesh. She said, "I've seen the display of the apparatus, but Bevier, you are seeing what appears to be the silver wires that seem to connect to the tower structure. These are very similar to some of the things that you saw in the Lost Laboratory. It's those silver wires again."
Yes. I didn't think I'd ever see anything like these again. Were there any other parts or beings moving around? Did they seem to connect to these dryads at all? Were the dryads arguing just about structure?
No, it's this. After our investigation, it seemed like these temporal displacements were causing some, how should we say, odd peculiarities within the woods. Once I removed these, and he pulls out the 2 gems. He sets them, he just kind of holds them in his hand. He's almost reluctant to set them down or to give them away. You can just kind of tell by the hesitation. Once we found these and removed them, those displacements seemed to stop. I mean, we ended up running across a few creatures, and that accounts for the loss of our companions. Just an adventure. I don't think this tower or these gems had anything directly tied into that, other than just kind of disturbing that area with some kind of magical influence, if you will. It seemed to corrupt the area in a way. Just disturbing nature. At least that's how the uniform explained it.
You were wise not to meet with anyone to give these away.
Well, and suddenly you guys begin to hear a commotion outside. No, I was here first. No, me. And it almost sounds as if there is fighting going on. He kind of looks up. Caroline looks up, and looking at the door, and she's like, "What's going on out there? This is the area near the wooden tankard is known for being quiet."
What's everybody's line? Put
those away.
Beat each other up.
As you kind of look out, I see Treant makes his way to the door. As Treant makes his way to the door and looks just outside, he sees a half-elf and a human fighting on the ground, each rolling around, kind of like struggling to keep the other one down and at the same time stand up. The half-elf looks up at Treant. "The Marquis, I was here first. You take this." And he's holding what appears to be some sort of letter.
Take the ladder and try to separate them.
All right, you step in and and separate the 2. As the other one stands up, he's like, "He lies. He tricked me. I was here first, and this letter is for you."
Thank you. I will take the other letter. I'm capable of receiving 2 letters. I have 2 hands.
He's like, this. I mean, we know that you've been contacted by the adventurer. So, how should we say? My esteemed benefactor wishes to invite you to formally meet. No, not your benefactor. My benefactor. It wishes to invite you to formally meet regarding those items. It's not. I was here first. No, you weren't. And they start to go at it again. But you can kind of separate them.
Haven't used this in a bit. I'm going to use the Staff of Charming.
Okay.
One additional creature. Okay, so I'm going to cast it at level 2 with the staff, and just say quiet.
All right. And
So Wisdom 16.
Wisdom 16. All right. One of them gives a roll. One of them goes quiet. And the other one, half elves. Are they immune to charm?
They have advantage.
So he's got a 14 or a 9. So they both go quiet.
I hate it, but we cannot. This is Glissondale, not Sindleton.
Yes,
I
yes.
look over both letters, and you still told your benefactors that you did your jobs, and I suggest that you two have a pint on me, one for each.
And they comply. They very, very charmingly comply. Dusk kind of leans out as he's looking out the door. It's like, that's them. Those are the ones that tried to contact me before. I mean, we didn't tell them we were coming here. Caroline's like, there's many ways that people can find these things out. Trust me. And now that you have most of the Saren defenders and remember the Fellhammer 5 in one place, it would not have been hard to look at us. He's like, all right. Well, Dusk, once those guys they'll come in, they'll have a pint, and just kind of sit at the bar. Just
What's all that wrong?
Is there a second level to this, or is this an?
Say it again.
Oh, is there a second level to this hub?
I don't know.
No.
I don't see the stairs.
No. Okay.
So one of them, the half elf, he identifies himself as Dolman. The human is Pharaoh. I both are wearing better than normal clothes, although the filth of the road is now upon them, as they were trading blows with fists and wrestling to basically claim being there first. The letters are addressed. Both seem to be addressed to something. Dearest adventurers of renown. As you open the first letter, it extends a formal welcome and a request to meet in person. The contents are short on details beyond the solicitor's name. Lynx Kretlatch. I will post this name in the Discord channel for you guys. Lynx Kretlatch. Her invitation promises a lucrative reward for services rendered that will benefit all good and free folk. It includes a map to a dwelling. You recognize that this map is somewhere, a manor house. You think you're kind of familiar with it, near the Glissondale Museum of Natural History. It advises.
And was it Pharaoh's or John Holmes?
This was Dolman's. And the letter advises due haste, as it also makes it clear that there is another, less scrupulous solicitor interested in your service as well. And it cautions you against the machinations of this rival.
Fancy vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And fancy that.
Did we have to have conversations in password whispers?
Alrighty.
Everyone?
Yay, remember.
So is that we only heard one person give an offer?
So,
Oh,
the second letter.
Pharaoh's.
So there is a second letter. As you open the second letter, it too is addressed to noblest adventurers of renown. It too is a little wrinkled and crimpled, but still intact, just like the other. It is also a request to meet in person. The solicitor's name is Sir Ursus. And, much like the other letter, it promises a lucrative reward for services rendered that will benefit all good and free folk. It includes a map to the solicitor's dwelling, which is looks to be a manor house located somewhere east side of Glissondale near the mountains. It also advises due haste, and makes it clear that another, less scrupulous solicitor is interested in your service as well, and cautions you against the machinations of citizens. Sir Ursus. So go ahead and give me history checks on links. Let's see what you guys know off the top of your heads.
Oh.
DM, are you seeing this come through? We don't need to announce it.
Yes, I'm seeing it. You can announce it.
Those of us who grew up in Glissondale, do we have advantage?
No.
No.
16. Alrighty. Let's see.
You got brands in there?
Yep. 11. I got Trance at 16. Brand 19. And Tella 11. Alright. So, let's see here. Tella. No, Trent. Trent, you are a little more familiar with links in your journeys, mainly between Glissondale and Snowshore Harbor. Bevier, you've heard the name. It rings a little bit of a bell, as you believe that Lynx was some sort of, you believe, a spy. What most of you kind of piece together is that Tella and Trent both know that Lynx... Yay, we're getting trained. Lynx is a courtesan to the Devastil family. Rumor has it, and this is kind of where Trent's rumors are kind of picking up, this is what he might know, is that she is a retired Glissondale spy who was used against Snowshore Harbor between 1025 and 1028. Thought to be highly skilled and could have made a great adventurer. She does have a manor house in Glissondale near the Museum of Natural History. Sir Ursus, Bran, knows a little more about Sir Ursus. Sir Ursus, even though he is from Glissondale, was a knight who gained some local renown in kind of like some of the more paladin-esque circles between KVY 1026 and 1028 for fighting fiends. Several fiends that appeared here and there, and some orcs and goblins and whatnot. He made quite a bit of money from his adventurers and began constructing a small manor. Tella and Trent and Bevier are familiar with this manor that a lot of people have called a keep. It is not quite a grand keep, but it is on the eastern side of Glissondale, pretty much right up against the mountains. It's inside the city.
So,
Okay.
Sir Ursus is a knight, fought fiends.
Well, that's the word.
Well,
How
I'll
would
share that with my
follow them
opinions.
with which church?
You're not sure.
I'll be sure to share that with my colleagues.
All right. So Caroline kind of is sitting there in a way, just kind of rubbing her chin. She looks at Bevier. Like, I told you this would get interesting fast.
You have any insight on this? Seems coincidental. We're discussing parts related to Qualesh, while at the same time now we received invitations from two people. Dusk, are these the same two that have been trying to get you to hand over the goods?
He's like, yes, they contacted me like a couple of weeks ago. That's when I went to Sarenshire, contacted Caroline that we needed to meet. Or, well, I sent a letter to Sarenshire. I've tried to avoid them since, but, they found me. I guess.
Wow.
They found you. How they know it was you and not me, I don't know. And Caroline, again, just kind of raises her eyebrows. She's like, she's like, you see? There's something else going on.
Keep those items on you and keep them safe.
He's like,
don't hand them over to us, at least not right now.
well, he's like, I actually would prefer to unload them. I mean, I'll take anything, pretty much anything you want to give me for him. Caroline's like, he does need the money. But,
No problem.
He's pretty much looking to get rid of them. You know, he wants to hand this off to you because it's a little weird for him, but Caroline also has this feeling that it's important and should be in the hands of, you know, more capable adventurers.
Understood.
No offense, Dustin. He's like, none take.
May I do a logic check? I'm trying to clock his life rank. Is he wealthy? Is he aristocrat? Is he common?
Who?
Dusk.
Okay, go for it. Give me insight.
Can I, that's a crit.
20.
But 20.
Skill check, can't crit. Nanny. No matter what everyone says.
So I'm really good at
Get a card.
But you, you basically size him up. He looks like he's an adventurer. He kind of reminds you of when you were around 4th or 5th level. It's like you'd had a little money. It had come and gone. But at that time, you had also had a friend who, you know, turned to stone. Oh, poor so Luca. You know, so you kind of realize it, you know, at the same...
You too?
Yeah, I know, right?
But that was his fault. Let's be honest.
It was. But, you know, you kind of realize it's like, it is a little traumatic when you lose a friend, and he lost 2. You know, 2 companions on this one. Another one just decided to quit. You know, he said he'll catch up with Hup later, but the Yellow Death is going on, so he understands why Hup went back home. You know, he seems genuine. He's not filthy rich or anything. He's basically living an adventurer life, and you could tell he's modest lifestyle. He could probably afford a little better here and there, but what
100 gold, help you out.
He's like, I'll take it.
Oh, no. 100 gold, you're worth far more. Here's 700. Or I will match the 700. That should keep you comfortable for a year.
He's like, I don't know what to say, Marquis. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, he's like, I've looked at these, and, you know, Caroline and I have studied them, and from what we can tell, while they are magical, they do not have any innate properties on and of their own accord. It's almost like they belong somewhere else. In fact, when we remove them from the wreckage, that's when the temporal displacement stopped. So, take that.
I would like to stop the conversation. Can these guys that came in hear us talking? Because I don't know if we want to be discussing privy details in front of these
They're
guys.
still outside, aren't they?
Yeah, they're at the
Oh,
bar.
really?
They're at the bar.
They're at the bar, but
Yeah,
they're
like
forced.
3 feet away.
Yeah, they're forced to be quiet.
Tell
Just
us
pull up.
pocket these things quietly and let's head on down the road.
Make shells, crack them, and that's rarities on all of us.
Okay, casting rarities, nice. Yeah. You are now in telepathic content, so you can telepathically
I'm not
communicate.
I'm not sure you want to hear what I'm thinking.
Okay, well, so I did not want to halt the conversation for any other reason. I did want to continue the conversation. I just wasn't sure if we should be doing it in front of these guys. Don't seem like the smartest bunch.
I like a cautious companion.
You ready?
You know, you never know who they're going to report back to.
So he's like,
Boy, links and
I'm not sure if there's anything else I can tell you.
I have a question about the gems.
Sure.
You said that they altered time around them. How far away did it reach? What seemed to be the area of effect that the time was altered?
He's like, it was localized. So I'd say at most, my guess, and this is a guess because we weren't witness to all the events, it was the Dryads and the Unicorn who were having the problems. And they had reported some strange things that were happening probably a couple 100 feet away from where we found these. Now, I couldn't tell you why that is, and I couldn't tell you how or even the exact what it was. All we saw is when we got there very, very close, it was almost like for a moment, and it was sporadic, that you could kind of see yourself do something either before you did it or after you had done it. It was almost like witnessing a replay, if you wish, if you will.
Deja vu.
Yeah, it was like a deja vu.
And you said it only happened. You said it only happened. It doesn't happen everywhere. It only happened.
No, and we couldn't make it. We couldn't seem to make it happen. It just did, and then it wouldn't do it. And then there was long periods of time where it wasn't doing anything. These little gems were just sitting there. I mean, once we pulled them out, we never saw that effect again.
But you also said it seems like the gems should be somewhere else.
Well, it's
do you think that the activation of the gems has anything to do with where they are physically located?
I don't know.
These were found in a wreck. They could be malfunctioning.
Caroline's like, I'm going to bring you. Caroline's like, let me bring you back to this drawing and what Bevier saw. He's going to be able to tell you better than I, but I do recall some of the stories of certain machineries. And of course, the one machine you did find that has certain things, as you kind of look at the drawings, you can see mechanical machinations that are, there's some similarities. I'm not going to say they're quite identical or anything, but it's, mechanical similarities. And obviously the apparatus is mechanical. Beverly, you're looking at the silver cords and the mechanics. You can obviously see the correlation here.
Yes,
something.
A lot of bits and pieces are similar to the lab.
Am I supposed to be able to see this drawing somewhere?
No.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
That's disturbing any of the extra items left Qualish's laboratory. We don't know how they all work.
Well, if this came from the tower, then it wasn't in Qualish's laboratory. But
somebody's pulling similar technology and similar magics.
Right. Two similar things in two different places. Whether it was translocated there, transported there, or just happened to be, is kind of the mystery.
Yeah, that can't bode well. There are a lot of horrors in Qualish's laboratory around it.
So I must have missed something important about the machinations of the machinery. You said these gems came from machinery?
Yes. Inside the tower, Caroline describes, there was a tower in Candlelight Library that we went to investigate with the Dragon Slayers of Bellspar. Inside the tower, there was a plan, apparently, to launch the tower into space, if you will. There was these machines and these control panels and things that were meant to make this tower fly. Now, a long story short, it didn't make it very far. It basically flew over the mountain and crashed somewhere to the east. The whole thing was... They were trying to... Remember when the elemental cult was trying to gather information and gather magic? This was part of their ploy in order to gather all their knowledge and then launch it into space where they could keep it safe for themselves. I believe some of you went looking for, I believe the Fellhammer 5 went to the Glissondale Mountains, and that's where they came across the laboratory of Qualish because...
and the floating island.
In the floating island because the cult was trying to get items of power. And I believe the Saren Defenders likewise went into the Attican Mountains also looking for items of power, in which you guys ended up coming across some of those elemental weapons and whatnot. Well, this group was focused on knowledge, not necessarily items of power, but knowledge. Now, we foiled that plan, much like you foiled theirs, and Spellhammer 5 foiled theirs. So all three of our groups managed to foil those plans. But that's what this group was. And in this tower, at the top, there was this panel, which is what I'm looking at here from my memory. And like he's saying, these two gems came out of that panel.
So whatever that panel was, it controlled these time problems, for lack of a better phrase.
Or they were involved.
What makes you feel like they should be? What was it again that you felt like they should be somewhere else? What makes you feel like they should be somewhere else? You said. I think you used those words.
Well, it seemed like maybe whatever they were doing there, they weren't working correctly. And now I'm being asked for them. So that's strange.
It is indeed strange.
I mean, Dusk is like, how did they know I had that? I mean, that's the first question. How did they know that we were here only 5 minutes before they showed up? Right. Second question.
Good point. I'm not aware of them being followed.
I mean,
yeah,
Caroline looks at all three of you. It's not like y'all aren't renowned anyway.
I'm so good at where I go.
So she's like,
yes, Tala, you're followed everywhere. Because of your two books. Speaking of, when's the third one coming out? It's been, what, 4 years?
It just came out, actually. Unfortunately, sales are slow due to this yellow death. What you can do about that?
Sales are just a little bit slow right now because of the yellow death. But yeah, it did release.
So, since we're doing this psychically, Tella, why don't you silently slide these into your pocket, and we'll keep it quiet. We can go visit each of these individuals in turn. They don't need to know we have the controls, but let's go feel them out and see what's going on.
Very well.
I'm going to go back to rolling. Why do you need the bag of holding?
Okay. Just a question.
Just put them in your pocket.
For now and for later.
Bag of holding.
I don't have a bag of holding. I can just haul one.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick them in my bag now.
Alrighty.
Put them in your prison wallet. They'll never find them.
Hello.
Right up.
Well, the old prison.
Unless I want them to find it.
Alrighty. So you guys are going to head out, make like a baby, and head out. All right.
Oh.
So I'm going to pull you over.
Jokes to continue.
We're going to a new map. This is just the.
Before we leave, can you do some advice real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to go and buy 50 gold worth of incense. Make sure I have them for supplements.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Got it. Yeah, not a problem.
I'll go ahead and get that.
Alrighty. Summoning you to a new board.
Right.
Need to plug the tree in.
We teleported.
You did.
So, I'll get about some chops for 50. So, I'll make sure that you have
No problem. Yeah, any common gear, you're more than welcome to pick up. Not a problem. Okay. Alrighty. Theater of the Mind. Who are you going to decide to see first? Lynx or Ursus?
About Lynx.
Sounds good to me.
Is that what this is? So is this like this little zone we're in here is just a theater of the mind, you said?
Yeah. because I don't need a map. We don't need maps for this next one. So that's why
I don't know. What do you guys think?
you can move your mini around and look at the red herring or the MacGuffin on stage. Or
6 of one, half dozen of another to me. Don't care.
Lynx is
Well, I
a
mean-
female with nobility, so she will have more contacts.
If you got a strategy, sounds good.
Are we metagaming here? Because one of them is a red herring. So,
oh god,
just saying, maybe we should go with the blue one.
Good point. Subtle clue.
I have one vote for Lynx, and a sounds good for Lynx. Anything else?
Sure.
Lynx.
And off my stage.
You want to buy? Oh, your stage. Yes, it is your stage.
Get off my stage.
Tell her.
Don't be shitty. Don't be shitty.
Drama queen. Alrighty. So,
That's fine with me. Yeah.
Lynx. Following the letter to Lynx, of course, the letter leads to a very nice manor house. It's not overly gaudy,
Wait,
but it
is it
is
Lynx?
a good size. It is near the Museum of Natural History, just close by. It's not like right next door or anything. It's just in that area. As you approach the manor house, you notice that there are, there's some like people that are like, kind of like, I would say grooming the outside of the house, and like keeping the garden kind of nice. There's 2 workers, and they both kind of stand as you approach, and one of them runs to the door and opens it and says something inside, while the other one seems to put away their shears and try to straighten their clothes a little bit. And he's like, "Oh,
Maybe do perception to hear what he said inside.
it's going to be difficult, but give me a roll."
17.
You believe he said something there, like they're arriving or they're here, something like that. It was a very quick thing as they opened the door. The other one, well, welcome, brave adventurers. And you can tell the guy's trying to remember what to say exactly. He's like, Lynx Petlatch welcomes you to her manor home and hopes that you enjoy the stay. Would you require any refreshment?
Sure.
Beer.
He kind of nods and
Do you have
he
more
looks, at,
ale?
he looks at the other person. Yes. We have it all. Please, come inside. The interior of the
And
manor,
I'll take 2.
as you come inside, the interior of the manor home, it's not huge, but there is a small foyer. And Lynx Petlatch approaches. Lynx being a...
Lynx.
Well, she's not missing. Lynx being a tiefling. Which is now apparent as she swaggers forward. Her clothes are, well, rather form-fitted. She is quite comely. Probably has a pretty good charisma. She's like, well. Saren Defenders. And I believe it's the explorer, Bevier Argonis. I can say that I am absolutely honored to have you in my home. Please, refreshments. And you can see, like, one of the other persons comes up, and they have, like, it's a tray of pretty much an assortment. There's a wine glass, there's ales, there's something else. Might be a whiskey or something like that. She says, so, please, come in. There's a sitting room to the side, which she walks in. There's a nice little hearth there. It's middle of summer, so there's no fire. She's like, well, I can tell that I may be a little forward, but your reputations do precede you. And I can guarantee you that what I'm looking for is in everyone's best interest. What do you know about these little items that our little adventurer Tusk had found? I guess I came on a little too strong for him. It's young adventurers seem to want to hold on to little magic items, and adventurers themselves always seemed reluctant to let them go, at least at first.
Maybe your alarm bell's going off in his head.
First off, before we talk business, can't be too vulgar. Is this Mortimer or Ironbeard ale?
Well, she kind of looks at the person who brought it. That is a Mortengard ale. There you have it.
Oh, they're very lovely. Have you ever been to Hellhammer?
Linked? She's like, I myself? Only briefly, and only once.
Insight check.
Okay.
16.
Seems to be true. She continues. She's like, I actually spent quite a bit of time in Snowshore Harbor. Off and on for about 3 years while I was kind of in service to some of the circle here in Glissendale. You say,
that's where I know you from. I thought I assigned you from there.
Well, I mean, it's possible. I mean, that's we Tieflings do tend to stand out a little bit in Snowshore Harbor. They're not super nice, but disguises can be useful. And I've used my fair share in my time. I'm not ashamed to say. I could have gone full-time adventurer, but I made quite a bit of money for myself over those 3 years. And, well, I mean, hearing the stories and all the things that you guys had to do, I'll take it for what it was worth. I made out pretty well, and I've been doing well ever since. But business, if we may, I have been working on something.
Can I judge it real quick? Are we still under? Can we still communicate telepathically to each other?
8 hours?
Is that gone?
It lasts for an hour.
No,
I
probably
don't know
not.
how long it's been.
Yeah, with buying and selling, it would have been longer than an hour.
Well, I can counter ritually if we need to.
You're going to sit there for 10 minutes?
I was just
Yeah.
I was curious if we would all know. Because I know that Bevier said the warning bells went off in his head, and I was wondering if that kind of thing we would know that.
Right now, you don't have it up.
I'm going to study the plugging in my loot, and I'm going to ritually cast it for 10 minutes until we're connected again.
Okay.
So that's what I'll be doing.
Fuck your loot.
I'm all about that.
It's like,
He's a bard. Come on.
Whatever works for you, I'm just saying.
so the house itself is nice. It's well furnished. And she's probably true to her word. She probably did make out. She's, well, not over the top rich, not definitely in nobility. She does have the dressings of a courtesan, as well as you can see the Delantry family emblems around. Being a courtesan to the Delantry family, this makes a lot of sense.
Courtesan? What is it?
Courtesans,
Or Devasto?
Devasto. Sorry, Devasto. You're correct. Devasto. So courtesans are like they're not nobles, but they are the ones the nobles trust the most. So they're like subfamilies. They keep those families close. So courtesans usually work for the noble families, and they're usually I'm not talking work the fields. I'm talking the higher end type stuff. It can be books, it can be accounting, it can be all sorts of
Fine.
All sorts of things.
All sorts of things.
But yeah, a courtesan family usually is once your family is in as a courtesan, your family will grow up underneath that other family. So you have a lot of perks. But you also, you are pretty much in a way serving that family. But it's not like a slave. It's people ask to get into it. It can be a pretty cush life.
You're a maid family.
Yes, it's like a maid family. So, she says, I have been working on a machine. You see, my plan is to use this machine to counteract forces of evil that propagate through the valley. I'm not just talking about the Yellow Death. I mean, I'm talking about those diseases from Templeton and Snowshore Harbor. I know you guys know what I mean. Now, I will readily admit that there is a rivalry between myself and one Sir Ursus. He considers me a criminal for my past, for those adventuring ways that I was bid to do. But we all have to work in the way that we work well. And he is always trying to constantly thwart me. He's tried to steal my plans. He's tried to break into my stores and ruin equipment and buy things out from under me. It's become quite annoying. Anyway, he is looking for those components in which we believe our little friend Dusk had found. And he wants to use them for his own lost cause of leading a war into the Nine Hells, which would invariably result in the components falling into diabolical hands. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. You can see how this would go bad. Yeah, you can see how this would go bad. Anyway,
Did you say this is the other person who sent us a letter?
Did he send you a letter already? Damn him! He must be following me.
Well, I don't know. He sent a man by the name of Standby.
His name
Sir
is
Ursus.
Standby. Yes, Sir Ursus. That's who I was just talking about.
Interesting.
Anyway, you see, several of these components that I've been working on in this design, this machine, they have been mentioned in a lot of legends. I've spent quite a bit of time at the Candlelight Library surrounding an ancient tomb from across the sea. Now, she leans forward and seems to get very serious. I cannot discuss the details, or else everyone here risks, and she does a head explode gesture, having their heads explode. So, all I can say is that expeditions have been sent, two, in fact, and both have failed to return. This has been over the last year and a half. Well, I think
Can
I...
you
What's
Did you
that?
say where the expeditions went, or can you say?
Not unless you want to have your head blown.
Okay. Let's leave that off the table then.
Yes.
Can you point?
I would. No. Actually, we should stop discussing that part of it for all of our sake.
I already had headaches. So.
Anyway, as I was saying, the expeditions
Tell me about the machine.
have all failed to return. I believe, instead, that an expedition should be sent to an earlier time in the tomb's construction, when the missing components are thought to be there. I theorize that the existing components of the machine that I'm looking to build can allow the time to be manipulated in some localized fashion within this tomb. I am aware that Sir Ursus has knowledge of other components that are very similar to what I'm looking for, that might relate to some ancient temple that's dedicated to devils or something. But I believe mine are here. Well, the machine.
You say you want to build a machine that can help us time travel. Did I hear you correctly?
Only partial. The machine in and of itself will do far more than just time travel. In fact, that's not its primary purpose. The little functional buttons I believe our friend has come across can be used in order to do certain time distortions. And possibly, I believe I have the ability in order to localize a small temporal displacement around an object in order to, well, as you say, time travel. With those buttons, I could use those to plug into one of my constructs that would allow a group such as yours to travel to this certain location and time in order to retrieve these other components that I'm looking for. Now, as your reward, you simply name it. I will give you anything within my power to grant, because this, gentleman, could be the answer to a lot of things that have gone wrong in the valley over the last 10 years or so. With a machine such as this, we will be able to stop evil doings. I mean, halt those foul beings in both Tindleton and Snowshore Harbor from their corruptions, as well as perhaps even solve this Yellow Death.
I'd like to check everyone mentally, find out what everybody's thinking, or what she's saying.
We connected, yeah.
So, yeah, after about 10 minutes, you finally click, connect, uploading.
This is,
so?
seems to be fraught with peril.
I have a insight also on links to see if she being as altruistic as she seems to be about this machine, that she wants to use it for good, or is there some underlying reason?
Give me an insight check.
I was going to do the same thing. I will guidance you.
So you're going to cast guidance. That would be right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
not good.
Alright, fine. Then I'd like to check as well.
Yeah, I'll bring it up so if anyone wants to. It's not winning road.
No, I didn't cite it for advice. I believe her.
My insight check says, I don't really know.
Well, she definitely.
I've had 2 beers.
I have a 9.
It got to my head, and I don't think I can insight anything at this point.
He's tired and he wants to go to bed. I had 2 beers a while ago, and it went right in my head. All right, so a 9, a 13, and a 7. Yeah, I mean, you can tell that what she's saying, I mean, seems true.
Yeah.
She hasn't revealed a lot about the machine itself, though. She seemed to have sidetracked that a little bit.
That's what I like. That's what I was trying to check everybody about. Like, what is everybody thinking about this machine? Like mentally, secretly, while she's talking, I'm asking everybody, what do you think about this machine? What do you think about her plan?
I'm skeptical.
No one should be in charge of time. I mean, yeah, we could save our loved ones, we could save death, whatever. It's great. However, the gods have decided to do it. Who is she to decide?
But how did this power come to this sort of power? How did they learn to manipulate time in such a way? That's the question.
A tiny little time.
And I believe it's a question for the minstrels of the past. So, after we're done here, I would like to cast a spell if we have the time. Just to ask the spirits here and there.
So I'm assuming all of that is in the Rary's telepathic bond. Right?
Yeah, this is all happening.
Yeah.
So, links. What's it?
Say that again? You broke up a little bit.
Lake Flash?
Huh?
Lake
Yeah.
Flash?
I'm having a hard time understanding Tella. Is it just me?
No.
I was just trying to talk back to the reading.
Oh, links? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Outside of the area.
Yeah, she's there. So she's sitting there just like obviously looking at you guys like you guys were in deep thought. Kind of waiting on you guys to say something.
My hope was that we were kind of telepathically communicating while she was talking so that it wouldn't be obvious that we were, it's not like we waited until she was done
That's going to be
Specifically because I didn't want her to think we were talking behind her back. Just trying to avoid that.
Yeah, but at the same time, you had to get the story to talk about whatever she was talking about. So.
Now, do you have any more information about this machine, the history of it, the lore, the myths about it, other than what it does?
I suppose it's inevitable. This machine will be able to do many things. In fact, it is based upon the workings of a man named Lum. Any of you can make an Arcana or a History check. She said Lum,
I will do so.
as in L-U-M.
25.
19.
Woo!
22.
21.
I got a 22, 25, 19, 21. All right. So, all of
More
your...
than our dissertations on Lum.
So, who got the 19 is the only one that's on the low end. 19. Brand's like, wasn't that discovered in 1026 by Fellhammer 5? No, wait. That was the apparatus of Qualesh. Oh, wait. He's like, Lum, wasn't he an assistant to Qualesh? That's kind of what Brand's thinking. Let's see. 21 and 22. You both realize that Lum, who was an assistant to Qualesh, developed an artifact of enormous power, thought to be otherworldly. Its controls were various, meaning it didn't do just one singular type of thing. It could do many types of things. But it's this is artifact power magic. Trian, you're like, wait a minute. Are you talking about the infernal machine of Lum the Mad?
Oh,
That sounds lovely. Yeah.
Do I know what
We
he
should
does?
definitely get out there.
You don't know what it does. You just know the name. And I'll post that in Discord.
I will telepathically say the name for the machine of Lum the Mad. But verbally, I will say, "Oh, Lum, I'm quite familiar with this work."
Oh,
You must be
well,
well read to be able to create this machine.
I mean, that is quite remarkable. Lum is notated in several of works of Qualesh as an apprentice who showed remarkable aptitude. I mean, some of their works bordered on otherworldly. A lot of it was lost forever until, I do believe, it was the Fellhammer 5 who happened to find one of Qualesh's works. I must say I have been to the museum quite a few times in order to look over the replica. I hear it's actually quite detailed, but I've noticed a few things that I do believe are missing for mechanical sake, I should say. And, Bevier, you can basically you kind of know that they didn't rebuild it completely exact. They left, a few things out just because. But because of its really otherworldly nature of what that thing did. But the museum built a replica of the apparatus Qualesh, so that it's been on display there.
I would like to have a question.
Yeah, I was consulted on it.
Yes.
Modeling.
Oh, and telepathically, so this is your fault.
Pretty much. You're going to blame me anyway, so why find it?
I set up that way.
I choose the danger.
I would like to telepathically say, family meeting. We have a family meeting elsewhere.
Okay, we're trying to get out of this.
Flight's done.
Tell them we'll think on it. We need to hear what the other side has to say and make sure we're not following the way over there.
Telepathically,
Yes.
Stella, ask what you need to ask then. And I'll try to interfere.
Well, she says, well, first let me show you a little something, if I may. She stands, and she just walks over to the two, little servants and says something just kind of whispers, and they kind of nod and they move out the room. She's like, please consider this my offer. And it's a generous one. I can definitely pay you in some advance. And again, I have resources that can get quite a few things, actually. Some even magical. But I would like to introduce you to, and she kind of points, and coming around the corner is a mechanical-like figure. It.
Fuck.
Forge has been unlocked.
I will drop it.
Careful, Vampire, that could be your out loud voice.
Right? I think it was.
Uh-oh, I have missed community content.
Perfect, man. Let me introduce you. What the fuck?
It looks as such. It says, this is Elodicea.
Hey.
Elodicea is a mechanical guy. I've designed Elodicea to work particularly with what I believe the little items that you are possessing. In fact, integrated into Elodicea's chest here, and she got a point, where you can see there's two places like where those little gems would probably fit. It says she would be able to manipulate time fluctuations in a localized area, as well as move you all to a certain location and time at the same time. This is who I would like to send with you on this adventure that I'm asking you to go on. I would very much like to work with you. If there is anything else that you would require, I mean, I will do my best to get it before, but I am a shrewd businesswoman. I don't like to put too much before I get my returns. I'm sure you understand.
While this is going on, know your enemy. Assessing this thing's strength score, dexterity, constitution, armor class, HP in comparison to myself and class.
All right, so let's start with the first one.
No volume enemy.
Are you testing the spell on your enemy?
No, it's
Classicity.
Right.
Oh, cool.
All right, so what was the first thing you need to know?
Hang on a second here. Sorry, I have issues with my computer. What is the name of this thing again?
Elodicea.
Hello, to see you.
First thing would be. Sorry, trying to go back and forth between two screens. Damn it. The strength, dexterity, and.
Strength, 10.
Okay. Dex and constitution?
10.
Where'd the dang thing go? AC?
20.
HP?
50.
And if there are any class or fighter levels involved?
None.
Okay, so 10, 10, 10, 20, and 50. Okay.
Yeah, it seems to be quite durable, but in and of itself, it's not super combative.
I'm going to click my heels and hover in front of it to do eye level with it. So I'm assuming it's a tall, 6 foot or something?
Yeah, it's about 6 feet tall.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to look into it and be like, does this machine work as a familiar? Can you see through it? Will you be able to keep tabs on other things in a way?
Unfortunately, it is a construct through and through. It does not tether as such. It doesn't work.
Okay, and then you also said that the gems, the same gems we have, are also embedded in its chest.
No. It's like you can see where the gems could be embedded in the chest.
Oh, God.
She's saying that if you were to give her the gems to embed in the chest, this thing would be able to transport you as well as do time distortions in a certain place. So, for example, You could take her into a room and ask her to do a time displacement. And then she could show you a manipulation of things that may have happened in that room.
Mentally, I'd like to ask the group, do you guys remember if she said anything about she knows what gems? Does she know anything about the gems? She obviously knows we have them. Does she know anything about them? Revealed anything?
She does not know we have them. She has said Dusk every single time. So I think she thinks Dusk has them.
And that's where it needs to stay.
Indeed.
She hasn't given me too much details and the extreme ability of the stones.
This thing
She says, furthermore,
disturbing.
furthermore, any damage done to her can also be fixed via the mending spell.
Probably.
Comes in quite handy. Makes her actually quite durable.
Does she have a personality? Does she have free will? Does she think?
Has a minor personality, but she mostly will obey your orders. She's designed that way. I can't. It's like if I'm sending a guide back through time, I'm not sure I want it exactly thinking for yourself. I mean, that's why I have you. I mean, you're the brains. You're the brains of the operation.
Well, that's disturbing.
He will do the noble laugh. Oh, I certainly hope not. My brain's not my strong suit.
Well, I mean, your reputation has preceded you.
And refresh my memory. What exactly is it that you ultimately want Lady Critlash from this adventure that you sent us on?
In this location that I'm sending to, I believe there are other components similar to these. And she points to the holes in the chest, to the ones that Dusk has found, to our friend that is found. More of these components are needed to complete the machine. At least, the more that I have, the better the machine could be. The more things it'll be able to do. It's essential. I mean, it's for the good of the realm. I mean, think of all the lives that this could save.
How altruistic of you, truly. Now, my question.
That was like backhand. She doesn't speak Tella, I do.
My question is, if this machinery were to be used by the realm, as we say, would it be under the patronage of a specific family? As I know, you are an offshoot then of Lord Devastel, the Duke Devastel's family.
We are yes. The Critlash family is a courtesan family to the Devastel. I have worked for the Circle of Nobles for quite some time. I mean, this to serve Blissendale, of course, at its highest level. I mean, the Duke. I mean, what great honor. I mean, obviously, I would not take all of the fame or the renown for completing it. I mean, the building of the machine has been a passion of mine for some years now. But, I mean, the finding of the components, without those, the machine would be nothing. And so that renown would be all to you.
Oh, no one knows renown more than I do. Now, tell me, does the Grand know?
The Duke is aware of the fact that I am working on something in order to combat the Yellow Death. But, my lord, you, as well as the Marquis, a courtesan does not wish to overplay his hand unless he is certain of the outcome. Or the disappointment in the family would be, it would not play well. I dare not say too much lest I disappoint. I don't aim to disappoint, but I would rather be able to present a fully complete and working thing to the to the noble family.
I doubt you could ever disappoint.
Understood.
So are you commissioned by the family then, this machine?
No, again, they do not know the exact. This is not their. How should we say? This was not done at their instigation. This is something I have taken on of my own accord, with under the directive of trying to find solutions to protect the valley.
Mm. Yes, let's protect the valley.
After all, I mean, you are the Saren defenders. Sure.
Well, that we are. Yes.
And the Felhammer 5.
And the
Bevier's going to step over the edge here. It's getting so sickly sweet, I feel diabetes in the air.
Well, as much as I would love to spend the night here, regaling each other with our abilities, I think we should leave. I have marquee business to attend.
I completely understand, but please, if there is anything I can do, just come. The door will be open.
Of course.
Quite a
Thank you so much.
invitation.
I will reach out in a day or two if I haven't heard of you. Just heard from you, just to make sure that you are okay. As I have stated in the letter, that Sir Ursus is not to be trusted. I would not want any harm to come to you.
Oh, of course not. I wouldn't want harm to come to you either.
That I
Or,
appreciate.
I don't want
I
harm
could
to
do
me
love
either.
your hospitality.
Thank you. I will leave Idalicia. She will be here in the front should you require her services. I do believe all that needs to be done is a slight tinker in order to place those gems into her chest. Should you decide to come back and claim her while I am away, I should not be far, but just in case.
Patrice will stand up, raise the mug of ale, and then set it down and walk out.
Okay. And you guys exit. Alrighty.
I'm not buying the altruistic angle. Sounds right, but...
I'm up for speaking telepathically until the spell ends.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys can exit.
Well, I don't know about your backgrounds, but I'm too enamored of wine and ale to say I think straight on anything less than 5 beers. So I say we go to the tavern.
Bevier pulls out his special dwarven cup and gives him a taste. The good stuff.
Ooh!
You notice his mug seems to wait. What is the magic word? See if Bevier,
I don't know.
see if Bevier remembers. It's not filling.
Damn it.
Is this a Chanko?
Liechtenstein.
It would be if he could remember the magic word.
Ilfam.
There it is. Boom. Dwarven for beer. It's dwarven for beer.
Australian for beer.
So yeah, he says the Ilfern, and it fills up.
It's on my tea time brew.
Good.
It's only one. I think we should go for another.
Why? We have another appointment to make.
I think he's going to need some liquid courage.
All right.
Off we pop.
Sir Ursus, is he really a paladin?
You're not sure.
Tinker has 3 charges, if I remember right. Drink the rest
He's
of
been
them.
labeled as a knight, not necessarily a paladin.
Okay, I detest paladins.
You know,
All right.
Sarah.
What time is it now? How much time do we like? Is it still evening or is it what is it?
It's afternoon.
Okay, so we do still have time to.
Oh yeah. Y'all basically
Well,
met like at noon, and hour to buy and sell. 45 minutes to get over there. Spent probably an hour and change talking, And then, you need to cruise to the east side of Glissondale. You have the map, so it's going to take you another 45 minutes to get there. It's in the afternoon.
We're going to stop before we get there.
Okay.
Tell us, do you mind recasting that spell?
Of course. And I'm going to start. I'm doing ritually cast it. Start
And I
ritually.
always have time to stop for an ale.
Not Brad. We'll get back to that.
All right, Bran, you get inspiration.
Get in here.
Give him the inspiration sound.
Just give it to him already.
Bran has
Oh.
inspiration. All right. So, let's see. All right. So you're making your way. You cast ritual Rary's telepathic. As you approach, you notice that this keep, it's like a stone manor home that is built somewhat into the mountain. So it looks like it does connect to the side of the kind of the Glissondale Mountains. There is a very low wall, and when I say low wall, it's a stone wall. It has crenellations, but it's only about 3.5 feet tall. So it basically is like a miniature scale keep, if you will. But
You said what's the name of the place we're going to?
this is Sir Ursus. It's his manor home. It's known as the keep, but it's not like a real keep. It has the look and
I'm
feel
just
of a keep.
trying to find out if it's on the map. On
No,
the website.
it's not on the
Oh, okay.
map. So as you approach, there are a couple of guards out front by a gate. Now, I mean, you would think it would be a portcullis, but it's just a gate. But as you approach, one of them says, "They're approaching, sir," like you were expecting. You can see a man stand in the doorway of this manor home, which is kind of shaped like a large oaken door. It has the rounded top, almost like a castle door. It's nice. I mean, the place is a manor home. It's nice. It's just you're struck a little bit by, okay, it's not a real keep. It's manor home. It's like, I see what you're doing, but it's kind of like he's role playing, which is weird.
A little pretentious.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Social climbers.
Honored guests, please come in. He kind of steps forward, kind of across a small lawn, probably 30 feet out. As one of the guards opens the door, you can tell they're dressed in gear that it looks like scale mail, but perhaps it's not all the pieces are there. They have the look of they might be militia. They're just hired, which is quite common.
I recognize any of them?
Yeah, actually, you probably recognize one of them as a militia guy. You don't know him personally, but you've seen him.
Smile and nod.
And he's like, Mr. Arconis, it's good to have you.
Nice to see you, buddy. Nice to see you.
Sir Ursus
I can't
awaits.
remember the name.
Yeah. No, Buddy. My name was Buddy. You got it right.
You just call him boss at that point. Hey, boss.
As you kind of approach, Sir Ursus is like, well, if it isn't the Saren Defenders and the great Bevier Argonis from the Fellhammer Fire at the keep, this is an honored day indeed. Please, gentlemen, come in.
Telepathically laid on thick.
He comes in. He's like, he turns back around. He's like, please make sure they weren't followed, as our adversaries like to keep tabs on things that they shouldn't. Nothing to worry about. My guards will keep any intruders at bay. Yeah, go for it. Give me an insight check.
19.
He may have hammed it up a little bit, but he did generally look around to see if you were being followed.
I sense a more aggressive tone on this side of the town.
As you come in, the inside of the manor home is definitely a lot more traditional manor home style. It seems like it's the exterior facade that has more of a look. We're inside, it's nice open wood, some crafting, some art pieces. There is one particular art piece in his foyer, which is kind of like 2 stories tall for a foyer. that catches your eye. It is a piece of art you guys feel like you've seen before. As soon as I can, there we go. Make sure I open the right darn thing.
Do we need a history check?
No, the picture is. He's like, you kind of see it, and it's kind of this knight fighting like a devil or a fiend or something. It's kind of it's kind of a black and whitish art piece, so not a lot of color to it. You think you've seen something very similar, perhaps in maybe the Avant-Garde Art Gallery. He's like, I had this commission. You say after the famous Paladin in Hell, but this one captures my stylings a little bit more. You see how I'm holding the sword at that foul creature's chest right there? Yes, that was when I was fighting one of those beasts just south of the Great Woods. Those things, those little barb devils, they can put up a fight. Have you ever had the chance to tangle with one of those barb devils?
As a matter of fact, we did.
I thought
Quite impressive.
I thought as much. Actually, after the ruckus, in which there was some tellings of some demons and devils in your day, and there were a few more that seemed to, how should we say, linger in the lands. They had to be hunted down and disposed of. Ah, yes. For several years, between 1026 and 1028, I spent a good deal of time delivering justice to those foul creatures. Well, not to regale you. I could go on and on and on, of course, but I know I would like to get down to why you are here. And let's see. Drinks. He kind of leads you to a side room. Drinks. There's a bar. Instead of like lounging chairs, it's kind of tavern-esque, if you will. It definitely has kind of a nice appeal to it. You can see he strikes you as a guy who hangs on to like maybe some of the good times he recalls of his adventures. And you've heard he did adventures. This guy actually did adventure. You don't think he's a paladin though. He doesn't. You don't ever recall him having magical abilities or any stories of those. He was well regarded in the militia for a time, but he was an excellent combatant, apparently, and struck out on his own. He's like, I have drinks. I have some of the best Dwarven ale over here you can find, and I do have some Elven wine right here.
Dwarven ale from?
I have Dwarven ales from all over the valley. In fact, I have. Let me open my. Where are my meals? There we go. I have Dwarven ale, all the way from. Well, I have our local Moon Mountain Brewery here. Very popular drink. I do have a King's Ale, which is from Glissondale as well. I do have the Mountain Dew Ale from Frostdale.
Oh.
Mountain Dale Ale.
Okay.
I do have a oak warm wine. It is a nice warmed mulled wine from Belspar. I do understand it might be a little too. But I am willing to open a little bottle I have of some Elven Westwood wine. You know, the grapes were plucked from wild vines deep in the forest. It takes several months to create one batch. It's a fine brew, fine wine coming out of Sylvan.
Oh, no need. That should be for a wedding or a celebration, not for business.
Yeah. How about a good spiced ale? Flavorful warm brew from Snowshore Harbor?
I'll take one of each.
Spoken after a dwarf I once knew. Alrighty. He pours, he pops a couple of corks. He grabs a few mugs. He's not afraid to, serve you himself. So he takes one for himself. Cheers. Here's to, hopefully, a good business relationship.
Well, it's a fine start when you start with beer.
Absolutely. Yeah, he slugs it down, wipes across his mouth. Well, I have a proposition. I am looking for some components. You see, I am working on a machine, as is my competitor, that scoundrel Lynx Kretlatch. You know, she was a spy, and some say she was a double spy. I'm not sure whether we should trust her or not. And we all know the Duke's disregard towards adventurers. How is it she's well regarded by the Duke and not the rest of us? Quite interesting, if you ask me. I think she's up to no good. But nevertheless, it appears that we both stumbled across some information about the same time. Each of us working on this machine, which I do believe could be quite useful, particularly if any more of these foul, fiendy creatures decide to rise up in our valley, and perhaps this machine might even be useful against our current disease. Although, it remains a mystery of exactly how, but it's better that we have it than she have it. That's what I would always say. You don't want the bad guys getting the good stuff, do you? Well?
No, we don't.
Absolutely. Well, if we had this, next time we have to face those fiends and devils, we'll be fighting them on their own turf, not here. Well, anyway, after much contemplation and research, I have found a location that I must admit is very similar to the way this Leech Kretlatch has found a location. But it's in a different area. But, as I'm sure you've discerned by now, it is also in a different time. You see, the items and the components I am looking for are in a temple. There is an old, ancient temple that used to stand, and as far as I know, it stands no longer, but at a certain point in time, these components were there. I'm almost certain of it. A lot of my research in Candlelight Library has led me to this conclusion. And, if you know anything, the Church of Denier does not make a lot of liars out of those who do their due diligence.
Was it a temple to Denier?
No. The church is actually dedicated to a devil. The devil's name was Moloch back in that time. At least, from what I can conclude, that is my best guess.
Religion check? Have I ever heard of Moloch?
Give me a religion check.
And I check that as well.
That's 25.
Yeah, everybody can do a religion check.
History or religion?
Religion. It is a religion check.
Incoming.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely a temple.
I have a 25, 12,
Start there.
13. All right. Moloch. You're not familiar with the name. Or, well, you may have heard the name. It sounds familiar, but is any details about it? No. You don't know exactly who that is. But that's not unusual if he's talking about a very particular demon or devil. Obviously, they all have names. He happens to know the name of this one.
Telepathically, that is actually a demon. So at least that part is true.
It is a devil.
Said it was
devil?
It's a devil.
It's actually a devil. So.
You said it's called Moloch?
Moloch. M-O-L-O-C-H. Alright.
Who's historically really interesting.
So, anyway, I found the ruins in the Attican Mountains in 1027. Well, my expeditions there found the temple, ruined and looted. The components, like I said, are missing, long gone. But I believe the expedition should be sent to an earlier time in that temple's history, when, as I said, the missing components are thought to be there. I further theorize that the existing components would basically I further theorize that the components you have found that involve a time dilation. He's kind of looking at you with that, like, I know kind of look, and then, like, I know that you know kind of look, with a time dilation, as our young adventurers obviously have discovered, that can allow time to be manipulated in a localized fashion. In fact, I have created a construct that can actually use what you have found in order to both transport as well as dilate time in localized.
Who says we found anything?
Well, I do know that a certain young sorcerer was meeting with you, that he has found, and I'm definitely certain, considering your relations to the Blue Dragon, that you were told. I mean, let us be fair. All cards on the table. Now, what you probably don't know...
I'm not sure if we have time for that long of a game.
What you probably don't know is that Lynx... Go ahead.
You must clearly know that, given our past, with nobles and others dealing with devils, this does make it a little harder to trust this process.
Well, I mean, your past is exactly why you're on the top of my list. And, I mean, I wouldn't normally ask in a time like this, but, again, I do feel that this could help solve the Yellow Death Star. This is, what I'm building should be quite powerful. And, for us, quite useful. Like I said, those fiends will think twice before coming back to our valley. I mean, it's either that or follow Lynx on some half-assed mission to some ancient tomb that is filled with whatever horrors might be there.
Could you explain again your reasoning about how this helps us with the Yellow Death?
Well, an artifact
I
of this
something
power,
here?
the components you see, while I'm not exactly sure what they do, I am pretty sure that they are connected, magically at least. Much like the components you found, we understand that they have a time dilation. Or, I'm sorry, that our young sorcerer friend has found. He kind of puts his hand in his mouth like, kind of like I know you have them kind of look.
Okay.
Or that our young sorcerer friend has found have time dilations. These other components, I'm not exactly sure of their nature, but their power is hinted at throughout history, as I've basically uncovered. And perhaps, if one of them has the ability to cure things like disease, this would be tremendously useful. I mean, I'm talking artifact level power.
Okay.
Tell us more about what you would build.
Have you ever heard of an artificer named Lum?
That's where our cards
Yes, I
I know here. When I say telepathic to everyone.
You see,
Lub? Said
Lum.
Lum.
Good job, Brad.
Lum?
Before I'm prepared to admit whether or not we have anything, or we know of anything, I believe I'll need another one of those ales on your table.
He's like, by all means, help yourself, my good friend. All right.
We're
He
up to
says-
number 4 now. I believe I can start thinking clearly after number 5.
He says, Lum, you see, was rumored to be an apprentice of one Qualesh. And as he says that, he kind of looks towards Bevier. Now, I know you know who that is.
Quite.
In fact, some of the drawings and machinations of what I've discovered share certain resemblances in design. Finding some of these things, and with a bit of good fortune from my adventuring days, I have been able to jumpstart a project in order to replicate one of the machines that Lum was working on. The only thing I am missing are these key components, which seem to be the mainstays of power within this machine. I mean, putting it all together, and whoa! I mean, the normal man has a sword. I mean, you have an apparatus, this amazing harp, all these other objects. Why not a machine?
It's a loot.
That's
Thank you.
No, like he says that. Like
he doesn't. He doesn't mean to
way.
call you a liar.
Oh,
But
Since all our tables are out, all our cards are out on the table. All our tables are out on the cards.
table flip.
the coin price.
You say you have created such a construct? You built this apparatus, this other automaton, if you will?
Ah, yes, I have. Let me introduce you to my friend. My friend, why is my mouse not going over to this?
Say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my computer here.
Really missing an opportunity there.
I got it. My mouse without borders picked a really good time to have a border. There we go. All right. He's like, yes. He walks over to the corner of the room, and what you basically thought was probably a statue or a tapestry or something of the sort. I mouse wants to play on all three computers. I'm not going to do that. We're going to do that. He's like, I give you my version of the servant of Lucio. I call him Luke. And he
Look for missing content.
He pulls the cloth off of it. And what stands before you is a construct. Mechanical type construct. Looks strange. Doesn't even, I mean, it's bipedal, but it doesn't have human characteristics. It actually, as you're looking at it, you're like, wow, there's a lot of efficiency here in its design.
In a somewhat drunken-sounding mental voice, Bran says, I like the look of this one better. You should go with this one.
Brad.
Solid decision-making.
His head.
How dare we judge a book by its cover?
Where's that telekinetic
And-
push that,
Telepathically, I will say I'll first learn to read.
And then also, let's not mention that we've seen such a automaton before.
I don't know.
Now, sir, if I didn't take you for a artificer, I believe they're being called now.
well, I have been known to dabble. I mean, a good background. It took a while to train in some of the tinker's tools. I've been a smith all my life. Some carpentry, tinker's tools, and some hired help. Based upon that, and using some of my knowledge of magic creation, I have been paying attention to some of your compatriots' exploits. He kind of side-eyes Treant a little bit, knowing that you've worked in building magic items. I mean, it's something not a lot of people do. He's like, I have found that certain recipes and combinations are quite useful. And when you have a history such as I do, of fiendish bloods and hearts and access to such types of materials, those help those magical infusions, well, as I'm sure you would agree, quite significantly, especially from the more powerful foe you fell.
And you were able to create such a spectacle with blueprints from this Lum, you say?
Well, I have taken, how should we say, some of the best from what I could find, and I've had to make up the rest. Give me an insight check. Or what is your actually? This is not an
Passive.
Yeah, what is your passive insight? Your
It's just a 12.
Tell us.
16.
Wait, tell us a 12?
Yeah, mine's a 12. Passive insight.
I thought it was a 10.
It's mine.
What's tell us passive perception?
Passive perception is 18.
Oh, okay. I know why. That's because I'm on the. I'm not on your permanent. I'm set on the permanent. So your passive insight's 12. You can tell that he's protecting a little bit, but he's not being too subversive about it. Kind of like, every builder has their secrets. He doesn't want to give it all away yet. It's like he's not telling you everything about it, but he knows that he's not telling you everything about it. He's like, builder to builder, we all have our insights.
And does this creature have a will? Have a mind?
Luke? No. Luke will follow any command given. And he will follow your commands to the letter. I believe the little gems in which you found, if properly inserted into Luke, will allow this time dilation and manipulation to work. But, well, let's put all the cards on the table. Name your price. I'm a man of means. I have access to certain magic items, but I definitely have access to wealth. And I do have some influence, in particular militia areas. If there is anything I could possibly get for you, offer you, or do for you, you name your reward.
Telepathically? Any other questions? Or shall we try to get out of here?
He's not that on all his secrets. There's another part to how they're creating these creations. It's not magical, it's completely physical. It makes no sound like my creations do. It's not arcane, it is true machinery. So whatever else they're using to create such a thing, they're not letting on. And the fact that both he and Lady Lynx were both able to create very similar creations makes me think that there might be something else going on here. There might be another source that they're getting on how to create such devices.
It would be interesting to know if they are creating these in the manner in which Qualis created the apparatus. For example, I've never had to put fuel in the apparatus. It just goes. Whether it's magic or something else, I haven't figured it out, but it doesn't burn wood or anything else.
Verily, so why don't you work with your competitor? As you call her. And I'm going to
Lynx? Are you kidding me? The Duke hates adventurers, and she works for the Duke. As well as, like I said, I'm pretty sure she's a double spy. And if you recall, well, you should recall that terror that rose its head in Snowshore Harbor, as I believe it was the Saren defenders who had to face it within the depths of one of those foul, wretched hives of scum and filth. Demons, devils, they brought all that about. We can't have that again. Not here in Lissendel, no less. And she spent a lot of time in Snowshore Harbor. Have you ever wondered why? Duty?
And yet he was the entrance to the temple of the devil.
Well, that is where usually the best loot is kept.
Would you say your competitor seeks the same temple that you do?
Nay. She believes hers are in a tomb.
Tomb across the sea.
Now, I mean, I would not put it beyond to have some theory of what she may be looking for. But I believe mine are, what I am looking for in particular, are in this temple.
We need to think on it.
Please, do not think without an extra ale, good sir. He pours another ale and hands it to Bran.
I think he's trustworthy.
There you go. Well, I do understand that this was a lot of information, but time is of the essence. People are dying of the Yellow Death every day now.
Here's the
What about
highlight.
that
While I do
Time
believe that
dilation.
our time dilation may happen to save us a bit, there may be small fluctuations which still push time forward. So, you returning to this exact time, I'm not sure if that's going to work, but it would be soon after. So we shouldn't waste time.
Then contact us in a day or two if we haven't reached out to you.
Absolutely. I wait to hear from you. My door is always open. And
And no matter what our decision is, a cordial and working repertoire between our group and you would be more than welcome. I would love to hear more about your tales about fighting such demons. As you see, when we reached my bag, grab one of the pamphlets and hand it in. I have recently penned something which might interest you.
he's like, oh. He moves to a desk. He's like, I mean, I must gush, but if you are here, would you please? And he pulls out one of his. He goes, would you autograph mine? He's already, as he's already.
I see my reputation has surpassed me. I see.
It's like, well, I mean, it's not so much I was double checking your work, but there was a particular one in here that I was not familiar with. Even old dogs can learn new tricks, and I was quite fascinated by some of the commentary that is written with it.
I would love to pick your brain in the future, my good lord.
Good.
Certainly.
Yes, the more of us who vanquish fiends, the better.
With a sign for him.
Awesome.
Does a little heart.
He takes it. He's like he puts it like kind of props it so it's not like in, so it's kind of showing off now that it's. He's like, another grand treasure. This is perhaps now one of my favorites.
Love to hear. Oh, upon your leave, sir.
Fairly well. I wait to hear from you. And remember, name your reward. I will do everything in my power to see it fulfilled. All right. And you
Raise the glass, put it down.
You manage.
You have the gold cup for this here. I think it'll take you to gold.
He's like, keep that tankard as a token of my appreciation.
But I can like return it as soon as I can.
Oh no, it is a gift. Please.
Many things.
Alrighty. So you guys take your leave and you can head back out to Lissendale.
Back to where I stayed then to discuss further.
Agreed.
We will lead them to the Tremblewind household.
Alright. Yeah, you can go to the Tremblewind household.
Which someone needs to finish building. Oh, no. I apologize.
Yeah, for somebody needs to. Actually, I'll
It's
bring you out to the lobby.
chronologically, AJ. It's been 5 years since we've adventured.
No. It's
I've been adventure.
3. About 3 since
Three.
you guys have solidly.
3.
Because you guys wrapped up right at the end of 1026. And this
Yeah.
is 1029.
Okay.
Okay. I thought it was longer than that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, I mean, Bevier has gone on a couple of adventures over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Since the big adventure.
yeah. That's what I was wondering. Once we're back at home, back at the Trevor State, we're in terms of the movie, like, does it cross anyone strange that this level of technology has sprung so quickly around the valley. 3 years is hardly enough time at all. There was just a time not so long ago that trade what you were doing was considered wondrous.
Do you want me to be honest?
Yes.
No lie.
Then it's not that surprising.
Please lie to your teammate.
I mean, we only adventured for a year, and I ended up making magical items. What if I had sat for 3 years and just research? I'm sure we could come up with artifact level items. Just because we stopped being adventurers doesn't mean other people stop being able to.
No, I understand.
So it doesn't surprise me that they're at this level. What worries me is that they have that.
What I'm getting at is based off of how best way to put it, the influence that the valley has gone through. The genie's out of the bottle quickly. Yes, and with that being said, with that genie being out of the bottle, how are we so sure that this information that we're getting is from, let's say, more infernal means? This technology, this knowledge might be coming from a devastating or very malicious place that we don't know anything about.
It is entirely possible.
So you are most likely to believe Sir Ursus?
I don't know. He's adventured. He knows our plight. He has also faced some fiends back in the day during the entire Jabon and Leaf uprising. Instead of everything happening with what was his name again? That shade. I forget his name. But yes, with these things happening, what's to say that nothing else has contacted either indirectly or directly either Lynx or Ursus?
Night fight.
I also have a bone to pick with you, Trent. And Cora.
It was like a private conversation.
And Cora.
Family debate.
You decided to give her a sending stone of all people. Night and day I constantly get a sending up. Would you sing me a song, Teller? Would you tell me this, Teller? Really?
Yeah, I mentioned that you said you were the one who knows the most for now?
Yes.
Or the Trouble I'm sorry.
This must have been building.
Some of us are loved by the people, not just the circle itself.
Marquis, correct? That's what you meant to add at the end of it.
I do apologize, my good Lord.
You must be spending too much time in the taverns.
Yes, you know my people. Which reminds me, Akora says that Lady... I had her name a second ago. I can't remember. Sarah O'Brien's debutante's coming up. He wonders if you want her hand soon.
I've been looking into marriage myself. But first, before I make that devil pact called marriage, let's discuss devils and tombs.
Let's. Now we have a couple of things we'd like to go through. I can consult some of the past minstrels on certain things here to see if we can get anything divination-wise. Perhaps. Let me look at my notes real quick. The Infernal Machine of London Bad. The Temple of Moloch. Or we can ask
the tomb's name.
No. We didn't. I can also ask directly about Lady Lynx or whatever the spirits would know.
Sounds good to do some back research. My concern between the two options are that Ursus here, it almost sounds like his reach is exceeding his grasp. He is intending to create a this construct and imbue it with powers that if I'm understanding him correctly, he doesn't even understand. At least with the other one, it seemed to be a little more directed in scope, at least in intention.
Really, I got the impression that neither of them know what they're doing.
Oh, I'm not saying that's wrong. But one is only intending to manipulate time, and I say that so casually. The other one is talking about imbuing this creation with fantastic powers that he isn't even specific on. You're right. I don't think either of them really know what they're doing. If I've got to choose the option, I'll go with the lesser evil.
And the lesser evil in this, you're saying, is Lynx.
Yes, Lynx. At least that plan seems to be a bit more specific, or the outcome seems to be a bit more specific.
And that's what's actually worries me and makes me go against her. Because
Love it when it's like, yes.
too informed for something that was in footnotes.
You're too smart.
She had to struggle for. She seemed too informed of what those small footnotes mean.
Perhaps some of the insight divinations into some of the other people that Tello is going to follow along with may yield some more information before we pick a path.
We have a day.
Well, I can only do that once a day, so if you're going to take our pick today,
I thought you were consulting others. I guess I misunderstood your...
You must consult the bones.
Yes, I'm consulting the bone. I'm consulting the past.
You go consult your bone on your own. Let me know how it comes out.
Straight and a little to the left.
You know,
Please,
the minstrel
family now, no consulting of bones.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to start. But the actual ritual, we actually start casting the spell. I'm going to start Legend Lore, getting out my incense and the ivory, and while we talk amongst ourselves, it's going to take 10 minutes for me to start casting it, and then just to make sure, what am I asking today? Is it going to be like Qualesh, the Rum, the Temple of Moloch?
Go with the temple. Let's see what that yields.
And while you do that, I'm going to go back.
Did the lady
Well,
tell us where exactly she was sending us? Did she name the place?
She said that was part of the thing, is it's across the sea. So she did not name it because she doesn't want anybody's head to explode.
The Melon Buster.
Which is interesting.
Great nice name.
It's an interesting tidbit. I mean, if you go across the sea, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
We don't
know what's across the sea.
right. You don't.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Not a fan of the sea.
Not a fan of not knowing what's there when we go back. If we go back.
Now, I know we just said perhaps asking about the legend of the temple, but do you think the machine of London Mad would be a better use of our time right now? Since that's connected to both Lynx, Ursus, and everything else happening right now. The more information we get about how that works, the better. But if we choose the temple, that's fine. You know, I just wanted to put that out.
Sounds logical.
Wait,
I
that's a
trust
question.
you with your mentions. I'm simply going to pray to see which one, if either, is good.
Understood.
What was your question again, Ella?
Whether I want to do legend lore on Temple of Moloch or do legend lore on the infernal machine of London. Which one do you think would be a better use of our time right now?
Or are you unable to do it twice?
not today. I'll be able to do it again tomorrow. It's an expensive spell. I'll have to go back to the coffers.
Go with London Mag. That one is more local, so maybe more actionable quicker.
Yeah, that's a good.
I would say I would agree because I think the Lady Crackflash has left a far more holes in her explanation as to what is what, and what we would be doing, where we're going.
Well, she did so in order to explode, not to explode your head. She did warn you that was part of her reason for not going into detail, because she doesn't want to die. She doesn't want you to.
Sure, but we want to know what we can know before we agree to help her.
That's true.
All right, so please
that
be
is valid.
sure to ask whoever it is that you're paying the Legend of Lore. Don't reveal anything that would pop our heads.
So go over there and cast.
Yeah, let's hope that like the Goblin did.
Back to this.
I'm gonna go to my room and light incense and cast Commune.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the privy and do something similar.
Alrighty. He's going to light incense after he casts Commune.
That's right.
While he's doing that, has Tertius Salune heard any rumblings about devils named Moloch or things across the sea or heads exploding that might be
So
worth revisiting?
So once again, the most things that most of you know about Across the Sea is that ships out of Snowshore Harbor, there are just a couple, and actually now I think there are 3, that do journey to a distant land for trade. They take trade goods and they come back with materials and supplies and things. It's not a huge secret that they do this, but it's very mysterious, as Trant has recently found out on his expeditions, that nobody seems to talk about exactly what goes on when they do this. It's almost like, oh, yeah, we went over there and came back. It's like so vague and dodgy, and some people just downright say, can't talk about it. And that's all you get. It's no secret that it is a long journey by ship. Now, Lynx was telling you that the construct can teleport you both there and to the time, so it would not be a nautical journey. But
do I have an acolyte at the church in Fellhammer that's taking care of things that might have access to any documents, any journaling, any written documentation of things we've learned over the histories?
Nothing more than you. You would know more than they do.
Okay.
I mean, there's the history of sailing, which is fairly well known. That's actually a link on the Figma page. Sailing ships of the valley.
History of sailing. Yeah. You don't say.
I do say.
While Tella is casting his spell, I would like to ask Treant. In all of your many travels,
Treant is on his room casting Commune.
Sending spell to Treant then.
Busted. Tella's like, see how you like it when that happens.
I'll go knock on Treant's door. You can use this without a sending spell.
All right. Well, let's go through things one at a time. Let's do. You're casting the legend lore spell.
They say scold, poet, minstrel, bard, singing legends near and far.
Right.
And start drying with the incense. With the chalk, the incense, and have the library out.
All right. And you're going to ask about.
I would like to know any legends, tales, forgotten stories, secret lore about the infernal machine of London Mad.
Okay. Let's see here. coming to your mind. A strange device, thought to have been built by gods, with silver wires and constructed, capable of bending thoughts. Many things it can summon, others it can destroy. But the most powerful thing it can do is perhaps what one wishes. Oh, joy.
Oh, really?
That is what you get about
Had someone else mentioned silver wires? Was it Lynx or was it Caroline? I remember someone else mentioning silver wires.
So those were in the drawings that Caroline had on Dusk. But
That's
Bevier also experienced those at Qualish's laboratory.
Yep.
He likens them to things like astral connections, if you will.
Mm.
It's a common conclusion when people talk about the silvery cord. This has wires, but the silvery cord is often related to astral travel, astral projection.
Okay.
Right. And all right, let's do commune. All right.
Take a minute to cast, and have a minute to ask 3 questions. Yes or no questions are answered truthfully and correctly. However, unclear is also an answer.
Got it. All right.
So, I like the incense, and I pray to Neuralis and Lord, and I ask, let me get my name else there. Is Sir Ursus good?
Is Sir Ursus good?
You've asked a big question here.
No.
Oh. Second, is Lynx good? Lynx Crutchwatch.
No.
And then my third and last question is Sir Ursus evil? No. Rewind if I may.
Okay.
Is Sir Ursus working with the devil? Or the devil?
I'm going to say that one comes back uncertain. Hold on. Let me read a little something. Just
In a case where one word answer could be misleading or contrary to DDT's interest, the GM might offer a short phase as an answer instead. If that helps.
Is he working with the devil?
Mm-hmm. Or devils.
Gonna go with no. Hang on a second. I need to look something up because I know what you're trying to say. No.
No. Okay. Thank him. Even though the spell's already done, still thank it. Rose Nora, and then let the incense burn.
Okay. And then there's a knock on your door.
Yes?
It's Bran.
I will go and answer
Yes.
the door. It's Bran. Oh, shall we go down for a glass of
Another
water?
ale! Yes! Sorry, was I too excited?
No.
I get a bit excited about the ale.
I remember. Did you want ale? I do think I still have some brandy in the Stone Monastery. May have a few shots.
I'll take 3.
Go down. Is the Legend Lore? How long does Legend Lore take?
Legend lore? I thought it was like 10 minutes.
Okay, so he will
Yeah, you guys can meet back down. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send this to cast.
So, well, there are 2 things. Neither of them are good. Neither of them is good. Neither of them is good. And Sir Ursus is not working with the devil.
That's good to know.
I can ask tomorrow if any of them is evil, but if I try to ask tonight, you know, the god of death probably has more pressing matters than this adventure.
God's got a lot to do. So, Triad, a question for you.
I will pour brandy for each of us.
For hell's sakes.
But keep it, don't drink it yet. But what were you going to say?
Well, Chana tells me that you've been traveling around and talking to many folk.
Mm-hmm.
Have you met anyone from Snowshore Harbor that might know more about what lies across the sea?
Oh, you met plenty of people that might know what across the sea. They just won't tell.
They don't tell.
No one you could send a sending to then.
Oh, yes, but they would tell me what they have told me before. I have a thing for uncovering knowledge. Out of character, that's my flaw. But I met many people who could tell me, but none who would.
A lot of them are sailors who have made the journey. I mean, it's they've been across the sea. They know what's over there, but they won't talk. It's like one of the strangest, largest secrets that there is.
Do you think they withhold this information in the same way that Lady Cracklash withholds the information? In other words, to avoid head popping. Do you think they withhold the information for another reason?
Given that sailors are superstitious lot, could be a combination of the two. One, I'm an outsider, so if I want to know, I should get on the ship and become a sailor and find out. And then on the other hand, if they can't tell me, they're not going to risk it for an outsider.
So, do you think they've been paid or threatened not to speak? Or do you think they've seen something that scares them so badly they won't speak?
Oh, I don't think so. They don't seem fearful, they just seem defiant in their refusal. Though, of course, in Snowshore Harbor, there's probably more pressing matters.
Well, especially nowadays with the Yellow Death, too. Snowshore Harbor is being one of the largest cities and, well, not as organized as Glissondale. They're getting racked, like, big time. They'll all look out for their own, and yeah. It's not a pretty sight in Snow Shore Harbor right now.
So then you haven't heard of any head popping from the sailors?
No. To the point that you went on a hero speech for some of them, I saved them from the Yellow Death, and they still wouldn't. That's the experience that made me deeply respect them.
Bran scratches his beard deep into his thick beard. That's interesting.
But tell us, what did you hear from the minstrel's past?
Well, as the minstrel usually likes to speak in a rhyme, sometimes, and from what I can discern, the folds in the minstrel's saying that it's a strange device. The legends say that they were created by the gods. I don't know how true that is, since the specific name mentions Inferno. I guess there are the Inferno gods too. The Civil Wires that you saw there. In the laboratory, they were mentioned. Were they actually doing anything in the laboratory?
If memory serves, they were connected between different pieces and either controlling or sending some type of signals. There were dispossessed is not the right word. There were removed brains that were connected by various means. There was also a mind flare that was connected to other people and other things by these silvery strands. So I'm guessing it's some sort of communication.
It's an astral projection device, and it has the possibility of acid injecting one's conscience to other planes of existence, it seems, based off of what I can deduce from what's sold. It's also capable of healing. Capable of summoning, destroying. What the most exciting thing, I would say, what would really terrify to have this fall into anyone's hands, especially someone like Idolix or Isis, is the legends speak that it is capable of casting the wish. Out of there, real quick, is wish a known thing in the realm?
It has been heard of, yes.
Okay.
I've seen it performed. Very impressive.
Yeah,
Wait,
actually, yeah.
Who knows how to cast wish?
Durnavir has done it twice. He did it because from the deck of many things.
That's right, I remember him.
That deck of many things. What a cruel mistress.
Yes.
The machine itself seems to be able to pass.
We're talking about Lucas or what's his name? Is Furbolg still enjoying retirement in
the Furbolg
in Civilshire?
Good old who. Is who on first?
Yes, I know someone enjoying retirement too in the void.
Yeah.
I know somebody who's still a statue in a certain temple of Earth.
Same.
But father?
Maybe it's there. We don't speak on that, do we?
Dad? Is that you? He knows a certain glass statue that's still near the laboratory of Quillette.
This is true. May grab him again if we head back that way.
Now that's what I would give some heads about, is the quite capability of giving the possessor of such an item, of such an artifact, the ability to cast a single wish spell. Not to mention that you can destroy.
So
wait, what are you worried?
As you guys are talking, Caroline actually walks into the room and notices you all sitting there. She's like,
knocking?
Yeah.
Real quick, Brad, the infernal machinery and love the bad is believed within legend that it can give someone the capability of casting or receiving the benefits of a wish spell.
No. Just no. avoid that thing.
Okay.
So Caroline walks in, seeing you all there, and she comes over to the table. You can tell she did not expect to see you. And I don't know what tavern you guys can either be at the Golden Lion or the Wooden Tankard.
I thought we were at. We're at my house.
Oh, okay, never mind. You're at the Trimble Estate. Never mind. Caroline does not come by. Or maybe she stops by just to see if you're there before she's ready to leave. How about that?
Sounds right.
So she stops by, and she's like, I just wanted to check in before I teleported back to Sarenshire. Dusk is very happy that they seem to have left him alone. I can't thank you enough. I can profess I don't know everything about what's going on, but I knew enough that it did feel very suspicious. I don't.
We'll give her the short version of what they said. Of what both of them said.
She's like, she doesn't profess to know a lot of historical type things and things like that, but she does say, I know power. And I know that power finds a way. Whether it's in one's hands or another's or yours. Someone will have it. It just seems to me. And both of these seem hell-bent to get it. With or without your help.
Well, we can go get it. It doesn't mean we have to turn it over. Accidents happen.
Like, that's very true.
I like those attitudes.
Well, while you're here, Caroline, would you have one other business?
Just one.
We're traveling together. Who are we?
For the most part, you're the Saren Defenders. With Bebby Argonis. With special guest. Special guest, Bebby Argonis.
Raise Brandy. I will pour her one and then raise Brandy. How about Time Bandits?
That may not work out very well.
But it's pure evil. It's concentrated evil.
How about Time Cops?
How about that is where we are going to leave off for this episode. And we will continue a couple of weeks. So everybody who has been following and watching with us, thank you very much for joining on this long intro. I knew this was going to be a pretty heavy RP session, getting this one set up, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it. To everybody who is on the stream, thanks for watching. And catch next week as the other first age group gets ready with the Chill from the North. Find a different adventure. So, those of you on the stream, y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.